Okay, let's start the show.
It's June 6, 2013. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith. Did that a little early today. We got 3 seats today. Norman Chan's here.
Yeah, I'm here. You know, you've said that intro 172 times now.
No, not quite 172.
Well, there are episodes that we didn't count as numbers.
Well, and there were some that you hosted or that I wasn't around for.
I would say approximately 170 times now. At some point in your life.
It changed as
no,
well.
At some point, it's going to be like ingrained in you. So once you start the sentence, your brain's going to lock into it. And so when you are maybe 60, 70 years old,
that's what I'm muttering around.
And someone says, "Hey, what's the day today?"
And then you'll June 7th, 2052. Welcome to.
And then you'll just ramble up and then black out. And a couple seconds later, it was, "What is this?"
Piss myself and yeah.
What is Tested.com?
Gary Whitta is following podcast etiquette despite himself on the far left.
How I so wanted to jump in as well.
But you followed the rules. You never follow the rules on that one.
Well, because when I speak before I'm introduced, you bite my head off. So that's one lesson. I've learned that lesson, even if you haven't learned yours.
I learned that from Ryan Davis. Ryan Davis, for many years,
he run
followed
a tight ship?
strict, don't speak until
What's the logic behind that?
I think the idea is that if it's a radio show, people can't identify voices without knowing.
Isn't the bombcast supposed to be?
We're not on the radio.
Isn't the giant bombcast supposed to be kind of like a crazy zoo podcast, like anything goes? And he runs it like, do not speak until you are addressed.
I think the New Yorker
it's kind of a strange.
The New Yorker once described it as charmingly garrulous.
The bombcast was described in the New Yorker.
In the New Yorker, yeah. Think about that for a minute, and then get back to me.
That's.
If you need to go cut yourself, we can take a quick break.
That is something.
Yeah, good for them. That's what I say. Yeah, so we're here. Where do you stand on me saying?
When Gary wasn't on the show, we were charmingly Gary-less.
We were charmingly.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Wow,
that's good material, right?
Wow, you went to Europe and got all clever and stuff.
I don't want to. I feel like we beat up on you too much sometimes. That you're kind of the straight man here, and you take a lot of shit from us, but. I think Norm's comment is legitimate, that 170-something times is enough to have it pretty much down. When Norm has guest hosted, he always nails it on the first go.
Well, it's because he's thinking about it. The problem I have is the date. The date's the only place you can whiff. That's the only potential mistake.
Well, but that's all you have to say.
But the challenge is that we frequently record on not the date that it's posted.
In fact, today is not the date that we're recording.
Yeah, today is June 4th. So if something amazing happens tomorrow or the next morning.
So maybe it's that I cannot tell a lie, that honest part of you that can't.
I'll be perfectly honest.
Say the incorrect date. You cannot lie to your audience.
It's that I look down at the screen and I look at the calendar iCal app on the tray of the MacBook, and it has today's date on it.
Oh, and that throws you off?
I usually don't remember to look for the date until the moment I'm about to say it. So if I whiff,
everything else is on auto.
So poor preparation is
absolutely
the culprit.
It is 100% poor preparation.
Okay.
This is
in the British SAS, they have a saying, the 6 Ps, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Really?
I like that.
That's like something Soap would say.
Always remember the 6 Ps.
Where did you learn this?
When I was in the SAS.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
No, I wasn't really in the SAS.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
All you need is 6 pence to make it through the SAS.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had no podcast last week.
No. Well,
Why not?
I did a. Well,
because Norm was
were gone.
I was gone.
Norm was gone.
We were all traveling except you.
I wasn't angry enough to rant about.
You did a jars though instead.
I did a jars instead.
How did that go?
Sorry, it's no jars.
No jars.
Right. It's a dumb name.
I think you got to let it go.
The jars.
But in terms of just quick vernacular, so you did a jars.
Everybody knows.
People know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, it may be time to retire. Then maybe we should have a contest.
I think you should
for the new name.
Do you enjoy that, doing those jars videos?
It's always, I love talking to people because they ask questions that make me think about the way we do stuff on the site on a day-to-day basis.
And you're just watching a text feed that's kind of scrolling by.
Yeah. I think if we're going to continue doing that as a regular feature, we'll probably set up with somebody monitoring questions.
would not call it a feature.
It's like an AMA.
It's a video AMA. It's a dumb. It is. I call it your dumb questions answered because all no holds are barred on the questions.
Well, but you still get to choose. You don't have to answer anything.
I choose not to answer a few questions.
The
but
people attending will know what's not answered.
The key is like ask me anything. It doesn't mean I will answer anything.
Yeah, and for the most part, I answer. I mean, there is like I don't answer beard related questions unless they're particularly clever.
That's fair enough.
I don't answer personal questions that I would rather not.
Right. It always seems kind of strangely lonely because you just see that one
all by myself,
side of the conversation. There's an audience there, but you don't see them.
Yeah, so if I was going to change anything, I would get somebody to sit and help monitor questions and feed questions.
That's what you need. You need someone to bounce off. But the whole point of doing a JARS is you're doing it because there's no one else there.
Yeah, you're sad and lonely.
It is,
and drinking
Every
out of a
time
mug.
you call it a JARS,
you're angering me.
No, you're reminding the audience that it is just a
response
adaptation of Jeff Gerstmann's.
It is.
Yeah, Jeff Gerstmann was the one who really created this format, right?
This is a format that was dawned on YouTube 10 years ago.
Sure, but
the jar-related element, Jeff innovated that.
The jar joke was about a feud that Jeff and I had back in the old Whiskey Media days. Because I personally think that drinking out of jars is for heathens. Jars are for canning.
You mean like
so
Mason,
did he start jar time?
Jars?
He started jar time, and I after he started jar time and tried to bring his pro jars agenda to the internet.
But like when you go to like
I wanted to let my feelings be known about the origin of
start
jars.
jar time as a response to already knowing that you.
No, I told him that jar time was a terrible name for a
jars is
thing.
kind of chic now. When you go to like a trendy restaurant, sometimes they love like serving up drinks in mason jars. Like that's a thing that they do.
It's
better the texture on the side of the glass.
Plaid flannel shirt wearing hipsters. Fuck those guys. I got nothing. I got no truck.
Have you seen this week's XCCD? We're way past the bitching about hipsters phase.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have a lot of anger in you.
People call us hipsters, and that just tells me that they really don't know what hipsters are.
That doesn't make sense.
I mean, maybe Norm,
at all.
but not
Norm
me.
is
Definitely
even
not you.
I think what a hipster is, Norm used to be a hipster, but I think what a hipster is has evolved beyond where Norm is.
Well, what the thing is, I think people who don't.
But he's still the most hipsterish of the three of us.
Oh, definitely. People who aren't exposed to
that's
hipsters.
pretty low competition.
Younger.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a low blow.
Wow.
I mean, no, it's.
Can you be? But you can be an aging hipster, though. I've heard
Kramer
of that.
was a
I've heard
hipster.
of that. That's a thing.
The people who call us hipsters are confusing, just aren't exposed to real hipsters on a regular basis.
What is cripster? Because you're closer to the crypt? Is that the joke?
No.
What's a cripster?
Hipster.
Oh, I think you said hipster.
Oh, you might have invented something.
I invented
right.
there you go. Inadvertently
I said
created a new thing.
Cosmo Kramer on Seinfeld was a hipster.
No, he wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah, no, he was a hipster doofus.
Hipster doofus.
More
right.
doofus than hipster.
Defined on the show by Elaine
he's officially
as a hipster doofus.
But he's not. But that was
the hipsters.
But that was when
co-opted.
hipster meant something else.
Exactly.
Hipster is something different now.
But I mean, if you
wouldn't see Kramer going around with like Instagram wearing Warby Parkers and just generally being a tit.
Wow.
No, but think about
Warby
it.
Parkers. That was what a modern reference.
You like that hipster? You think I'm not up to date with this shit, but I am.
Modern Seinfeld there. No, he wore like flannel, corduroy pants and vintage shirts. You know, there was a whole episode
He
where
did
took,
shop in vintage.
Like, he was a proto hipster.
Yeah. Maybe he invented hipster.
Yeah,
there was a time when the Gap had pants that were called the hipster.
Do you think if you had like one of those evolution
that was
of
because you wore them on your hip though?
If you had one of those evolution of man war charts and like you looked at a modern hipster like Fred Armisen, Portlandia type character, and you went back to like Cro-Magnon, you'd eventually see Kramer.
I think Kramer's in the middle. I think if you went far enough, I think if you go back, it's like starts with the counterculture people in the 60s and 50s. Probably Beats in the 50s.
Yeah, Beatniks.
Counterculture people in the 60s.
Beatniks were the first, were like the troglodyte hipsters.
Yeah, pretty much.
The ones that first learned to bang rocks together in a way you probably never heard of.
Taking bennies and smoking reefer. That's what hipsters were all about in the 50s.
Wow.
I learned that from On the Road. I read that in high school English.
All right.
So hold on. We passed over something important here.
Well, what led into this talk was that back to jar time, back to you doing
I was all by myself.
Q&A.
All by yourself.
I was sitting in here, Matt,
because both Gary and I were away.
and I wasn't angry enough to do another rant.
But
people like that the last time, but I've been pretty chill.
Oh,
since
do you
the
do
baby was
rants?
born.
Well,
I've done one.
Will did it one rant.
It turns out it's a lot of work to write a 20-minute rant.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Oh, why would you write it though? You should just riff on it.
No. It was I did it. The inspiration there was Andy Rooney.
Oh, like an editorial comment?
Like a grumpy old fucker about complaining about stuff on the internet.
Or like Newt Gingrich going like, we can't call these phones, what are we supposed to call them?
Yeah,
It was
fucking computer.
It was like that, but
Fuck off.
about CES.
Yeah, it was like
it was less.
It was about CES bullshit. That's all it was.
It was the truth.
But it's good, though. I think, we're giving you shit for it.
CES.
But the fact is, you could just skip a week. Instead, you made an effort on your own to provide some content. I think you should be applauded for that.
It's a good excuse to work at home, and
Well, I mean, if it's just me sitting alone in the office crying, I'm not coming in.
But I think people would watch that.
Why pay $9 for parking?
I would, but I would tune in for that
next week. 24-hour
you
Will
crying
Smith
in the corner?
crying live stream.
Yeah,
We got that. We can do that.
all right.
that'd be an
I have that T-shirt. NASA
This
T-shirt.
T-shirt?
I got
That's
that
an old T-shirt.
It looks like
It's
an old
meant
T-shirt.
to look old.
It's a fold.
I got it
T-shirt.
from Target. I bet you got yours.
I got it
Target
from
as
Amazon.
well. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They have those at Target.
This
I
is the
liked it.
T-shirt I wanted at NASA when we went to NASA a few weeks ago. I wanted the big meatball.
2 months ago.
Is that long? Really?
April 26th.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's a month ago and a week. I wanted this big meatball T-shirt, and they didn't have it. And then when I went to Amazon, I was looking and I was like, if I wanted the gray one, I had to get the weathered one, and I didn't want a white one because I'm not going to wear white T-shirts. So I got the weathered one, and I regretted it immediately. But
Joey has real weathered NASA gear because he bought NASA gear where the NASA logo fell off, then the patch.
oh, the sweatbands?
And the patch fell off, and so he put the patch on a polo, and so he has real weathered.
Wow,
NASA
pretty cool.
That's authentic.
I lost my NASA hat pin immediately. I put it on something, and it fell off like 4 minutes later, and now it's gone. A part of me has died. You went to Switzerland.
You want to talk about Switzerland first or New York first?
You brought up Switzerland first.
All right, Switzerland.
Yeah.
Joey
Wait,
and I went.
should we? What's appropriate here? Is this fake out? Should this come at the end?
let's just roll it.
The people that tune into this podcast for like tech analysis, I feel like
Let's
they're
be
increasingly having to wait longer and longer to get there.
The big complaint when in the last few months, as you've been busy with different projects, is that we don't talk about enough nonsense. So people
want more nonsense.
we're giving you what you asked for.
Okay. Because
And now
let's
they're all
face it,
gonna-
the tech analysis.
It's a little slow.
Ain't worth shit.
Speak for yourself.
Tech
here.
analysis is generally pretty bad.
We're trained professionals.
It's no
here.
Market Watch. It's
Oh, hey, which reminds me, we had errata the week before the last podcast we did. Prior to the show, we asked if the Xbox One was a single die APU.
Oh
and
yeah,
it
I saw a fascinating thread about that on your
a
site.
single die APU
with 2 Jaguar units.
Thanks, Norm.
That's what Nan said.
You said it was when I sent you. I posted on Twitter, and you said, "Oh yeah, it's 2 dies under the spreader."
It's 2 units.
Yes, it is 2 units. It is a single die.
Yeah, I saw
Mistakes were made.
I saw about 6 of those ultra long comments.
Those are my favorite. There's there's nothing better than a 4,000 word comment. It's my favorite thing in the world.
About how many dies a chip.
About
is
how
on.
wrong I am. Yeah,
Well, that part's amusing.
It's always
just,
fantastic.
Just very dry.
Yes, Gary, it's so good to have you back.
The GIF thing. I enjoyed that.
Oh God.
People definitely were not siding with you on that one.
Well, that's because they're wrong. I'm comfortable saying that. I thought about doing a rant about GIF Jeff.
You should
But by the
have.
time I got to that point, it was
You
already
should
played.
have.
Wrong?
It was too late.
Wrong or ronge?
Wrong.
Ronge?
Go get on your giraffe and get the hell out of here.
It's unfortunate that you've chosen to take this side.
I think we should table. I think we should just agree to disagree on
If
the
you
Jeff
gave
Jeff
someone-
thing. I will
if you
respect
showed
your
someone
position.
that word-
You
just
will in
not
time.
very much.
Your opinion is as valid as the next guy's, but you will in time be proven to be on the wrong side of history.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. I can barely remember which side I'm on.
Oh,
At this point, we've argued
you're
about this for so
straddling.
goddamn long.
I thought Penny Arcade did a good cartoon about it.
They now talk about straddling.
What was the cartoon? I didn't see the.
It was
the
like
comment about it.
Gabe was sitting, I guess, at the movie theater with Tycho and a third guy, and he was having a panic attack because he was like, "Oh, I really want to talk about this funny GIF that I saw, but like I'll have to say it, and whatever I say, it's going to be the wrong pronunciation. They're going to tell me it's wrong."
Right.
And he couldn't figure out like what to do, so in the final panel, he just like rips the other 2 guys' throats out.
He bites them out. Hyperviolence. It's what they specialize
that's
in.
what
Yeah, Penny Arcade is at its best when it's surreal and violent.
Nonsensical.
It's kind of like what Larry David would think, except taken to a very nerdy extreme.
Yeah. If there was a
Social
tech
anxiety.
geek version of Curb Your Enthusiasm, that's the kind of hot button issue it would tackle, I'm sure.
I can't imagine a more riveting show than a tech nerd.
If you showed someone those 3 letters formed together, and they had not seen that word before,
It depends on what they're capitalized.
Your brain just naturally goes hard G. It just does.
If they're
I think that's why
capitalized-
people don't like the soft G part of it. It's not even the graphics part. It's just your brain just doesn't go there. You have to kind of force it into the soft G.
Except for giraffe, which is a word that starts with G and I.
I'm talking
It's not giraffe.
in specific words, sure, but I'm talking about in the specific GIF formulation.
GIF, I think you mean.
Your brain just does not want to go there.
If anybody's still watching, I'm really surprised. We're going to watch. You look on YouTube and see when people tune out of a video.
Oh, can you see that?
And I bet we just went off of a huge cliff right there. Just then.
Yeah, I think revisiting the GIF conversation was probably not the right call.
So you went to Switzerland.
I went to
Norm and Joey.
went to Switzerland.
Joey's not here.
You
but
kept that quiet. It was just, suddenly you were in Switzerland. I saw there was like one tweet about like, hey guys, what's cool? What are cool things to do in Switzerland? Or you said like I love the way that Americans go like, I'm going to Geneva, Switzerland.
You mean not Geneva?
There's Geneva, New Jersey.
I know, but
Really?
A month ago, I tweeted
Really?
and I said, anyone interested in meeting up in Geneva? And like, do you mean New Jersey?
How many times has anybody said yes to that?
When I was brought up in England and I would watch like Indiana Jones and they say, oh, we think the Grail Diary is in Venice, Italy. Like people in the movie theater would laugh as if to say, well where else would Venice be?
Okay.
And I could never figure out if that's just the way that Americans are taught to say it, or if it was a product of the fact that somehow Americans were more ignorant about geography.
No, it's a product of also that Americans, a lot of cities here are named after cities in Europe.
Like there's,
Right.
there's
Okay,
a
so that
Venice,
makes sense.
Tennessee.
That makes sense.
Right.
There's a Bristol, England. I grew up in Bristol, Tennessee.
Right.
There's
Right.
also the famous Bristol is in England.
Well, yeah, of course, most of the American
Brisbane.
cities on the East
Yeah,
Coast,
Australia,
like New
or
York,
Brisbane, yeah.
are of course based on British cities.
And I mean, San Francisco, Greece is fantastic. I don't know if you've ever been there before, but it's really nice.
I think you're making that one
I
up.
did just make that one.
All
up.
right.
Okay, so why were
So-
you in Switzerland, Norm? And Joey?
We were in Switzerland to visit a couple places.
I knew the answer to that
Yes.
question.
We went to visit Logitech.
They're in Switzerland?
They're a Swiss company.
I had no
One
idea.
Of their founders.
I've finally, after 173 episodes, learned something on this podcast.
You're
knew it
coming
would
in. You're coming in hot today, man.
It's been a while. I got a lot of shit built up.
I guess Brad was here last week, so you took it easy.
Oh, was he?
Or 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, Brad is like a little safety valve.
He's the anti-Gary.
He's so nice and so calm
so
and just
earnest.
so. It's like you can't be mean around him. He just raises the tone around him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Just a nice guy.
Full disclaimers: Logitech paid for our flights there,
Okay.
so
Chill.
they invited us over to check out their labs. And originally, we were kind of hesitant going, but it was also the opportunity for us to visit CERN,
Wait.
the Large Hadron Collider, and so we kind of piggybacked on that ride.
Now, how did you get authorization to do that? Because I'm sure you can't just walk in there.
So we know someone who's one of the outreach coordinators at CERN, who's a physicist.
So that's like-
even their PR marketing people are physicists.
Wow.
Well, they'd have to be.
Well, they're
physicists.
physicists turn given the role of PR marketing.
Is it something that they like aspire to, or is this something that they make them do for a year or two as punishment? Do you know?
I think it is the job that no one wants.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a physicist, you probably want to be doing physics.
Yes.
I would assume. I mean, I gotta assume though that if you're a physicist who can explain what they do at the Large Hadron Collider in a way that normal human beings can understand, probably being the PR guy is not a bad place.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
that
you
is
know,
a valuable service.
Describing and explaining incredibly complicated physics concepts like the Large Hadron Collider in a way that people can understand, that's a very valuable
Yeah.
skill.
Okay.
We need people like that.
Absolutely, and it's something we had a huge discussion about, especially with the announcement last year of the Higgs boson being potentially discovered.
You mean the God particle?
the quote unquote God particle, and how do you best communicate that to the layperson?
Yeah. I remember when it came out, there were a number of newspapers and magazines had here's the dummies guide.
Yeah.
Right.
And even those, I'm struggling
Yeah,
to
exactly.
keep up.
And you try to have this. You try to create analogies for the God particle and,
Right.
and metaphors in ways people can understand, but none of them really satisfy.
Some concepts are so complicated, there's really no super easy way to explain.
and the physicists have very high standards of what these analogies must satisfy.
Right. Well, and if you didn't have at least a basic understanding of quantum mechanics, then understanding the Higgs boson is going to be
Like if you don't know the
significant
difference
challenge.
between a quark and
Right.
an up quark, down quark, a
gluon
a
and,
muon,
yeah.
and electrons and elementary particles, and whew, no hope for you.
Right.
So that sounds like you had a bunch of fun conversations.
So yeah, that was pretty fun.
So first of all, I do want to talk about Logitech for just a moment.
Yeah.
Like, Logitech. I mean, it's one of those companies that we kind of feel like we need them in our life. Like your keyboard breaks, whatever, you got to go to the store and you'll probably get a Logitech keyboard or mouse
Yeah.
or whatever. But like, it's not very. I mean, are they doing things that are sexy and exciting, or do they have these like expensive Swiss labs where they're just making keyboards and mice?
Oh, this is more about mice that I was interested in. I think that Logitech, they were one of the first companies that did gaming mice. And you know this back in PC Gamer, they the Wingman, the 3-button mouse.
Right.
And, back then it was all balls and rollers.
Oh, God. I
and-
still remember having to unscrew that thing and
yeah,
get in there and
cleaning
getting all the
out
every
linen
few
out
weeks.
of those rollers.
You had a tool that was
Kids these
scrape
days
the
with their
roller.
lasers, they don't know they're born.
Yeah.
You know what? I had a Chloe hair get stuck in my laser mouse the other day, and I thought the mouse was completely losing its mind. Like it was.
Oh, there was a hair
completely
messing
erratic
with
and
the-
crazy.
with the
and there was
laser?
a hair in the laser.
That's got to drive you crazy.
And I couldn't figure it out. And finally, I was like, "Well, fuck, maybe it's dirty." And I flipped it over, and there was a a single dog hair.
splitting the beam and creating
Just
chaos.
all absolute madness.
So they made a ton of money in the early thousands and late 90s.
The noughties?
With the peak of PC gaming. And they were pretty much, them and Microsoft were the big players in the
Right.
game. And I think at one point, they say at least, their MX510 or 518, one of those mice, the one with the very memorable shape, was like the best-selling mouse in the world.
So like, and just to be clear, if you're looking at that lineage, it's like the IntelliMouse Explorer, the
Which is a great
Microsoft
mouse.
Ball mouse, and that's probably it for best-selling mice. Like, there's not
What's
that
their-
many best-selling mice in
What's
the world.
their bread and butter?
It's mice.
Mice, keyboards.
And now
Because they're very
Webcams.
diversified. I mean, they do like TV remote controls.
Yeah,
and-
now
I think they
have-
sold that actually.
Oh, they're getting rid of the Harmony
Yeah.
They
stuff.
have like iPad accessories.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
like tons and
speakers
tons of just, like,
yeah.
add-ons.
But I think it's still mice mostly.
Right, right.
Because you have, you go to a Best Buy and it's all
Logitech mice and keyboards and Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, but in the gaming scene, because that's where people are willing to pay $80 to $100 for a mouse.
So
Yeah.
sweet margins.
If you think about the past 2 or 3 years, it's really not been Logitech that people care about. Like
It's been Razer and those guys. isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
Razer is the first.
I have a Razer mouse
because
I
they're
love it.
so aggressive with their marketing and their sleek packaging.
Yeah, well, it's
and
all like the
massive
same
only
kind.
that.
It's the same kind of marketing that they use now to market, like it's energy drinks and stuff. It's all extreme
with the lights, illumination. It's all like the green lights.
Yeah,
and
green. I have like a pulsing green light on my mouse.
But
It's actually quite distracting.
Those guys also kept iterating too. Like Logitech released the G9X, and kind of hasn't released any gaming mice in a while after that. When then we saw the rat from Cyborg. Who makes that? It's not.
It's Cyborg. It's
It's
one company.
Madcast or
Cytec.
something, right?
Don't
Oh,
you,
Cytec,
you
yeah.
eventually, surely though, you do reach a point of kind of diminishing returns on like mouse performance, where it just becomes about marketing
You
bullshit.
do, and so that's what I wanted to ask them about. And they have this renewed interest in getting back into the gaming space, at least having new products. And so this year they launched a whole new line of G series mice. They look almost exactly the same as the old MX mice, except now better packaging, better
Right.
sensors, and stuff like that. And this was the the reason that they invited a bunch of people to ask them the technical questions. And so in
When
these
they wanted to show
labs-
you like testing labs and stuff like
Sure.
that too.
So
That was the
they
reason
have
we
this laboratory in Switzerland where they actually develop the sensors and test all the different components that go inside the mouse. They don't actually do the industrial design there. That happens, I think, in Ireland. But it's like a makerspace. You have a workshop, and you have machine
They have
tools.
mills and lathes and
Absolutely, 3D
band
printers
saws
and stuff, and they make their own, not only the sensors, but the testing equipment they use to test the mice.
One of the things I saw in one of the videos, I don't know which order they're going. This one will probably be up by the time people see this. But they had like a what looked like maybe a quadruple size mock-up of the sensor assembly, so you could kind of point out and show how the whole thing worked. And I had no idea how much lensing and stuff was in there. It was kind of surprising.
It's all lensing.
Yeah.
So there are 3 components of a modern mouse. You have the light, which could be a laser.
You can see that when you look at the bottom.
or it's an LED,
Infrared. Yeah.
or an infrared light. You have the sensor, which is basically like a camera sensor.
It's a CMOS chip, right?
It is just an imager that takes that reads light, and then you have a lens or a series of lenses in which light passes through. And by changing those 3 things and software, you can get more accuracy with your mouse.
One of the things I discovered last time I was in Best Buy, just kind of poking around, was that at the very, very low end, you can still get a mechanical ball mouse. They still make them.
Really?
Like Microsoft, yeah, for like $5, like way at the low end,
I gotta think
they
that-
still make those.
Probably the motors and stuff on a ball mouse are cheaper than paying for the IP on the cheapest optical sensor mouse.
Yeah.
Even though that should be cheaper to make.
Maybe it's for like old school
So-
mice hipsters that want to have a ball.
So That was terrible.
No, I mean, I wasn't trying to
Saying
make
the hipsters want to have
No,
a ball?
but they're saying like it's
Mouse?
like for them it's like listening
really-
to records on vinyl or something.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, the fidelity on a physical ball. You just don't get that digitally.
Two-axis of
Yeah.
tracking the X and the Y.
Yeah.
So, did you guys talk about because the software side of the mouse is the other thing that's a big deal. And I found over the years that like the difference between a mouse that you've set up properly to turn off acceleration for gaming, especially to turn off acceleration and set the DPI high enough that you kind of have a 1-to-1. It's not quite 1-to-1, obviously, but a close to 1-to-1 movement ratio on the software. Like, did they
They didn't talk about
that stuff
software.
at all?
No, nothing about software. But what they did talk about, what was super interesting, are their metrics for accuracy, and including what you're talking about. If you move 1-to-1, for example, they have machines that will move a mouse in a perfect circle.
Okay.
And if you draw the perfect circle, and the start point is the end point, and it's not an ellipse, sees it is a perfect circle.
And there's
then
no
that is
stair steps or no jaggies or
exactly
anything like that.
the stair steps are things they track. Also, then there's a good test of whether that sensor is accurate.
Okay. And do they do this on all of them or just on a handful, like spot check, whatever?
Oh no, they do them on all the prototypes.
On the designs, okay.
On the designs, and then there is actually a machine, because if you buy a mouse, it'll say this is durable for 5 million clicks or something, right? The button. There is a machine in Taiwan that will click the mouse 20 million times for 3 months.
Because in a game with a gaming mouse, you're going to see a lot of clicks.
Well, especially in something like StarCraft.
Yeah, with all those APMs.
Yeah.
488 APMs.
Or Dota.
Actions per minute.
They calculate that someone who games, a reasonable amount a week will click their mouse, and then uses the mouse also for PC, will use about like 7-8 million clicks a year.
Wow.
That is a lot of clicks.
Yeah.
I want to track that. Like if you're talking about 20 million clicks, and you do that in more than a few years, your wrists are going to stop working before the mouse stops working.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Anything else from? I mean, that sounds fat. That sounds.
Yeah,
it sounds, I
it's
mean, there's
on
going to be a bunch of
video,
videos,
and
right?
There's one long video with that stuff, and a bunch of photos and stuff like that. So.
All right, cool. And so then you went to the Large Hadron.
So that was like, okay, we did our obligation. I was very happy that it was actually interesting. So it made that part of the trip worth it. And then 30 miles south of Lausanne, which is where they're based, is Geneva. And that's where Joey and I stayed. And
did you take trains?
No, there was transport.
Okay.
There were trains also, but right outside Geneva, literally a 15-minute train ride, is CERN. Like when you think of CERN, you think that it's in the middle of the field, or it's somewhere in France or Switzerland.
You kind of expect like a shack.
It's away from like society or something, right? Because it's like Area 51. No, it's a big part of like Geneva, like their local economy, and tons of people live there and work there. And so Geneva has the big businesses are banking, Swiss watchmaking, and then a bunch of scientists
And Nespresso.
and
chocolate?
and chocolate and
Nespresso.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is? I know that we know that CERN is the home of the Large Hadron Collider, which includes like 7 or 8 experiments.
Have you read Dan Brown's Angels and Demons?
Nope.
No, but
Well,
I
then
saw
you
the I saw the
probably
movie.
don't know what CERN is.
I saw the movie. That's the one where Ewan McGregor is the Pope.
He is the Pope for
who
just
jumps out of the helicopter and saves the world.
No, he tries to. He saves.
He saves the world, but then he's
It
revealed
was
to
a
be the
plot.
bad guy afterwards.
That's
A bit of
true,
a spoiler
yeah.
there for anyone who
Is
might
this-
be considering watching that.
Is this one of those movies where Tom Hanks has Kelsey Grammer hair?
Basically, the
Yes.
Illuminati
Okay,
have
great.
stolen some God particles
1 gram
from
antimatter.
the Large Hadron. I only saw the movie, so I don't know how much they changed from the book. From the Large Hadron Collider, and they've stolen a bunch of popes, right, or like
They
cardinals.
kidnapped the popes.
Yeah, they've
popes.
kidnapped all these
cardinals,
Vatican
yeah.
cardinals, and they're going to blow up the Vatican with the God particles.
So is this like the red matter in the first Star Trek movie?
A little bit,
which
but
also was super dumb.
based more in real science.
Really? Oh man.
And then Tom Hanks is on the case and
Yeah.
is like discovering by reading like these old books that they have downstairs in the Vatican, like
Isn't
what's
he
going
a historian?
on.
He's
Yeah,
art-
he's a symbologist.
Oh, yes.
Right, and he
right.
reads all the symbols, and he figures out that
course
the
he is.
Illuminati
Right,
were like
things-
this ancient order of scientists who are pissed off that religion is like getting in the way of science or something.
Is symbology a real thing?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
But the thing that I always remember is that so like the dark matter is going to go off, and there's a papal conclave happening, and Ewan McGregor is this young Vatican cardinal. and he can fly. He knows how to fly a helicopter. I can't remember why he just does.
I thought he was just able to fly.
So
like, like Superman.
he gets the dark matter and puts it in the helicopter and flies it up into the sky, and then jumps out with a parachute, and the helicopter explodes, so the dark matter kind of explodes, harmlessly.
And
Yeah.
so
Kind of like how Batman takes, the nuclear bomb out.
You mean
into
the autopilot? If we're going to spoil stuff,
Yeah. Or how Tony Stark does it. He pushes that.
Yes.
That's a very popular thing to do these days, I
Yeah.
suppose. Like, just fly the thing away so it blows up in space.
And then
Yeah.
fall back
Or
down
like, if you want to
into
go back
the
even further, how Superman took the Eiffel Tower elevator where it had a nuclear bomb on it, remember from Superman 2, and threw it out into space. And that actually destroyed the Phantom Zone, which released General Zod
oh really?
and his compatriots.
That's the
Do you
cold
not-
open for Superman 2,
Do
right?
you remember this?
I haven't watched Superman 2. And the last time I watched that, I bought those DVDs when it came out on DVD. I was like, wow, these movies are fucking awful. Because all I remember from Superman 2
Superman 2 's
is that
fucking
Superman
great.
shoots missiles out of his hands.
No, he never shoots.
No,
missiles
that,
in his
you got
hands.
something wrong
What are you
there.
talking about?
He shoots missiles out of his hands.
No.
Or maybe his eyes. I can't remember.
You're missing something there. Anyway, that's what Ewan McGregor does. He flies up into the sky in the helicopter, and so the dark matter explodes.
And then, all the other Cardinals.
Parachutes back down like into St. Peter's Square, and they're also impressed.
So, like, despite his youth,
He's like, despite his youth, he should be the next pope because he just flew this dark matter away into,
He's the popiest.
into the sky.
it's time we had a pope who could fly a helicopter.
It's time that we had a helicopter flying dark matter dominating
Yeah.
pope. But then at the last minute, Tom Hanks realizes that he was kind of in on it the whole time.
Yes.
And he's exposed. And then what happened? Did Tom Hanks become the Pope? I don't remember.
No, Tom
That would have been awesome, though. That would have been much better.
It was the prequel to the Da Vinci Code.
Right.
But they made that
But they
movie
made it
first.
afterwards. Yeah, that's right.
So a book came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, and Dan Brown has a new book out now as well. I don't know what that one's about.
I don't know if people still care about Dan Brown.
I think we're pushing the nonsense factor a little
But
bit.
but isn't
more.
this what people want? You just said this is what people want. So we're giving them nonsense.
In that book, a very pop culture book, it was very popular.
Which one? Angels and Demons?
Angels and Demons.
Yeah.
Very, very popular. It was the first book that kind of exposed the masses to the Large Hadron Collider.
Right.
And I think Dan Brown did pay a visit. And he was like, oh, yeah.
Well, it's very.
This is impressive.
It's very.
We should make up some nonsense about
I
this.
It is very.
Write a
I'm
book
actually
about this.
surprised that Hollywood hasn't kind of gone to that well more often because the Large Hadron Collider.
Well-
There's always talk about how it could like explode the universe or open up
Right,
parallel dimensions. You think like
wormholes
science
and-
fiction would be like using
Black
it more.
hole.
Terminator 3, wormholes, right? Not black holes.
Well,
Wormholes.
naked singularities, I think, was the end of the last end of the world theory around
Terminator
the-
3 had a particle accelerator. It was where the Terminatrix got
like,
stuck to it at the very
Cyberdyne?
end. It was in the middle of the desert. Maybe it was
She
at
just got
Fermilab?
stuck to it because the magnets were super powerful, though,
because,
right?
because they were running the
right,
magnets
right.
and then she got stuck
You know, if you drive down 280, you drive over the Stanford linear accelerator, which is another part. Like, linear accelerators are less powerful because they can't circle. But yeah,
So CERN
They're everywhere.
was conceived of 50 years ago, I think.
so CERN is just the LHC.
CERN is the organization that built the LHC.
Okay.
And the Large Hadron Collider is the physical accelerator. That is this giant ring that's 47 kilometers in circumference.
Yeah.
That expands two countries, both Switzerland and France, which were right next to each other.
Yeah.
And it's actually overlaid on top of previously two smaller particle accelerators. So you use
So
that
it's like
same location.
concentric rings.
It is like concentric rings, but the existing particle accelerators they're boosters. They're where the hydrogen atoms get launched out of, and then they spin around first there.
Oh, so they
get near
they
light speed,
spool them up there.
and then send them through the LHC, and then they spin them around. 40 million. times a second.
Anytime I see pictures of that thing or hear about it like we're talking right now, it just blows my mind that that's something that we built.
Yeah, and that's why in that book, Dan Brown embellished it, but he called it the most the biggest machine ever made by man, or the most complex machine ever.
Well,
made by man.
it's got to be
one
up
of them.
there, right?
Absolutely.
If you look at it, like just from a matter of complexity and pieces, and not necessarily moving parts, but things that have to work perfectly together in order to work, it is right up there with like the International Space Station and jumbo jets and all that in terms of like accomplishments of of
So
amazing.
technological
there are two
society.
different types of components that go into the LHC that are individually very impressive. One is the actual ring. And so we're talking this 47
18
kilometer.
kilometer
Do they
diameter?
let you get inside the ring and walk
No,
around?
so we couldn't walk in the tunnels. LHC is closed down for 2 years since last year because they're going to make improvements. It's
Oh,
for
okay.
general maintenance. But there's radiation levels and stuff like that. They're opening up. They're improving the magnets actually.
Okay.
And we talked to one of the physicists and engineers who worked at one of their magnet facilities. So they developed these incredibly powerful and accurate magnets. That
Like
send the
electromagnets
particles.
or like rare earth
No,
or
I think
superconducting
they're
magnets?
Superconducting magnets.
Okay.
That can steer particles in very precise ways and then also kind of funnel them. But the tunnel itself isn't that big. It's not like a subway tunnel because the particle accelerator has a diameter. It's like maybe it's like a giant tube, maybe 2 feet, maybe 3 feet.
Oh, okay. I always thought it'd be
diameter.
like a big subway tunnel.
No, it's not. I mean, the tunnel where the accelerator exists in is a little bigger. You kind of drive a cart around it.
Right.
But it's not like you don't need a lot of space because it's actually
Well, particles are very small.
particles are very
Right.
small, and all you need are two tracks within that accelerator.
So one goes one way, one goes the other?
One goes clockwise, one goes counterclockwise, so that they can crash.
So the most space you need is just to like maintain and come in and check, make sure that things are going on.
Who
and all
pays
that.
for all this? Because it's tremendously expensive.
It is. CERN is a
20 European member states, but many non-European countries are also involved. in
Yeah,
Oh, so
US
various governments
involved.
fund it?
Yeah, various
Okay.
governments. U.S. is a non-voting member, I think, so they contribute a lot and they have a lot of input, but they don't get to vote. They're very influential, and I think a significant portion of the workforce there is American.
Right.
So, but the incredible thing, and the person that we talked to is actually at what's called the Atlas experiment. So, having particles spin around near light speed is kind of pointless unless you can detect what's happening to them when they collide.
Right. You need to observe.
Yeah. So at 5 points around the particle accelerator are these detectors. And these are the giant machines. So
Okay.
like what you saw on top of that puzzle
Right, those
box.
huge rings,
Right. The Atlas experiment it's 100 meters below ground. And it is
How much is that in feet?
It's about 300 feet.
280 feet.
I just wanted, people always ask.
It's actually about 80 meters below ground, is where the center is at, and another 20 meters to at the very
you mean
bottom.
like the center, like the visitor center or the control
No,
center? or
the center where the particles actually hit, because it goes around the particles accelerator.
Right, so it's like a torus, a donut around
Kinda.
the collision spot, right?
Right. But the mass of this machine it's more mass than the Eiffel Tower in that space.
In how big a space?
In about I want to say a 30-meter tall space.
Wow. So 100 feet.
Maybe, 100 feet, like 10 stories. Yep.
Okay.
About 100 feet. The mass of the Eiffel Tower, but it would still float on water for some reason.
How
because
much
the
of this
volume.
is
It's this
open to
giant
the public?
cavernous. Not much of it. So I'll give you the experience of walking in. So, we actually didn't have too many security checkpoints. It was kind of interesting. They were like, there's one part for the parking lot. The PR person drove us in. We walked inside the main building, and outside there was a giant mural that kind of looked like the Atlas experiment, but even that wasn't life size. It was actually bigger than this 8-story building. And then we walked into a visitor center, and on the left of the visitor center is the control room. So kind of like we saw Mission Control at NASA, they have the control room where you have cameras looking inside the Atlas experiment and people at computers. There weren't many people working there because it's not running right now.
Right.
But people, visitors, lots of schools visit. They can see the control room. And then
How did that control room compare to mission control?
it was not as impressive.
Oh, really? Not as many people working?
Well, no one was
like
working there. 'cause
fewer
it was-
desks?
the monitors, the screen, projectors weren't as big.
Okay.
So it was
But
all right.
they still had a big board and they still had a bunch of desks
Yeah,
facing the
yeah.
screen and all. Okay.
Yeah, basically. And then we went through a couple other security checkpoints, and our guide had to use a retinal scanner.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Retinal
That's
Really?
Yep.
I've never seen one of those in the real world.
I like that.
And then we took an elevator down and opened the door, and suddenly we were maybe 30 feet away from one of the biggest machines in the world.
That's very cool. I'm quite
That's
envious.
super
This has got to be
cool,
one of
yeah.
the coolest places in
And
the
it
world
was like
to visit.
we could see and point right there, about 40 feet from us. That's where the Higgs boson
Was
popped
discovered.
out.
That was the place.
And
that
was
it
detected.
That it existed for what? A couple of nanoseconds or something?
Very, very short period of time.
Yeah.
And so this detector they call it the Atlas experiment because that's where they funnel the particles in and collide. The detector is actually just like calorimeters and CMOS sensors. It's just very, very high resolution, like 100 megapixel sensors, and they're basically detecting light.
So they're looking for photons that emerge as a result of the boson decay or something,
and
right?
calorimeters detect energy, as particles.
But
collide
crazy
and
small amounts of energy.
crazy
right?
small amounts.
Yeah.
What was like the coolest part of the whole thing?
Of that particular visit,
Yeah.
well, the video we did, because I talked earlier about us wanting to, we talked about how difficult it is to communicate what the Higgs boson is,
Hold on,
and what CERN is to people, and not use quantum physics. So
Science communication.
Right. So the coolest thing was standing in front of the Higgs boson, or the Atlas experiment, with two physicists, and trying to explain to them my proposal for an analogy for the Higgs boson,
Oh,
the Higgs
God.
field,
Cute
Oh, God.
scientific
Why did you do this?
eye-rolling.
and using,
Why did you do this,
I know,
Norm?
he's going to say that they totally went for it.
and using Lego Star Wars figures as my props to explain
This is why you wanted my Lego Star Wars figures?
and then them totally shaking their heads and said, "That's bollocks." Out of a scale of 1 to 10, I would give your explanation a 1.
Oh, so they totally. So the coolest part of it was your theory being completely rejected.
But
by
then
these physicists.
explaining why that theory, why that analogy didn't work.
So
Okay.
is this a game that they make people play when they come in? Just as
No,
like
but
a
everyone
hazing-
has
that kind of sounds like nerd bullying. Like finally, that we're going
Yeah.
to give you a hard time.
It's like comic book guy moves.
They were
worst theory explanation
Right.
ever.
Worst analogy ever.
Well, okay, that was the coolest part. I can guess getting beat down by some certain
geeking
physicists.
out
I
with
guess
certain
it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Getting a lesson in physics,
That's true.
the
you were-
highest
you were
levels of
schooled, it
physics,
sounds
being
like.
schooled by some of the smartest people in the world in front of a machine that very few people understand.
I'm sure you
how it
won't be so
operates,
quick to step to any of those guys.
Was very, very
again.
cool.
Did you do the theory on video?
Yes, that was,
So
that was the
people
video.
are
Oh, so we
to
get
watch.
to see this?
We get to see your
Oh,
shaving.
when is that going to be posted?
All on video, maybe in a couple weeks.
Oh, I cannot wait
Yeah.
to see that.
Like I was so excited. You don't understand. The week before,
You thought
I
you would
went to
crack
CERN,
something that the smartest people in the
I
world
was
hadn't been able
driving
to
to
figure out?
Yosemite for a trip, and the whole I was a 6-hour drive, and while driving, the idea the inception in my head, and I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do at CERN. I got it."
right.
Wow.
And so I drove in the office. Well, no, this you were here the morning before I flew out, and I
Yeah, in
grabbed
a
Lego
frenzy.
from the walls.
You were like, I need Return of the Jedi, Luke
I
Skywalker,
need-
not Farm Boy Luke Skywalker.
Yep, and then went to CERN. I was so excited, and I said, "I got props," and I brought them out.
Wow.
So were you disappointed when they shat on your efforts?
I was a little disappointed.
Okay.
but it was very fun.
All right. Well, that does sound cool. I do want to see that.
I can't wait
video.
to see it. Yeah. So when you're at CERN, like I know when we go into like interviews and we both prepare for stuff and we both prepare a little differently, but I have to imagine that was a terrifying preparation, like figuring out how
I had
what
books.
you were going to ask, and yeah, I know you did a fair amount of homework.
We had the
pop-up books, right?
I read a pop-up book about the Atlas experiment before going to.
Yeah, that
Atlas
seems like it would be
experiment.
about my level.
You should do a show and tell of the pop-up
No,
book for next week.
We'll be doing that.
Yeah.
You guys have been stepping it up lately. I mean, doing shit with NASA and Commander Hadfield, and now going to CERN.
It's hard to top. Like we're in a situation where it's kind of hard to
it's
top.
like how do you top this though?
Yeah,
you guys
I mean-
are really kind of on top of your games right
But
now.
then after that, we had a day off, and it was the weekend, and Joe and I just wandered through Geneva.
Yeah, what did you do?
And we tried not to do all the touristy things.
I know, what are the touristy things?
Chocolate Factory?
United Nations. There were a couple museums there. We did stop in a couple museums, but we walked around and had some good beer and had some good food and tried to.
Did you see any lakes? See Lake Geneva?
There's Lake Geneva.
Okay.
There's a giant lake there. We'll have a travel video. So
Okay.
did you? I know, Will, you've seen Patrick's travel video. Gary, have you seen Patrick?
Did you see the
Iceland
Iceland?
No.
travel video? You got to watch this. So Patrick Klepek from Giant Bomb and Drew Scanlon.
They went to the EVE Online
big
thing.
fan community
Right,
thing, right?
yeah.
And so they went and Drew shot this edited this amazing travelogue video
On his Micro Four Thirds camera, right?
on his Micro Four Thirds camera about their trip. And it had these, they had a meetup with the Giant Bomb fans, and they went to a penis museum in Iceland.
Did you know that a whale's penis is like the size of you? basically.
Yeah.
I'm insulted. I feel like that's a diss. You, sir, are the size of a whale's penis.
It's perfect.
Man,
you know, whales' foreskin used to be jackets. That was Moby Dick.
Really?
Yeah.
you guys are making me feel like I should travel more.
I
Like, you're going to
cliff
Geneva and
You should travel
Drew's been to
more.
North Korea and
Oh, yeah.
all these
Don't go to
amazing
North Korea.
places. Well, no, but it'd be, I think if I could be, you know, if I felt safe, it would be an interesting place to visit.
I don't think it's safe to go to North Korea.
Well,
I told Drew when he was going to
Well,
North
but
Korea.
he
it's
came
not
back
safe
and he
to go
told
to
those
North Korea.
fascinating stories on Oktobercast.
So we shot a video and inspired to be like them and shoot something.
Well, we've
that was
done
fun.
travel videos before. Vinny and Ryan, I guess, did a travel video when they went to Liverpool.
Right. I'm saying in that vein.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a silly travel video. It's for you guys, the people who are still watching the show after the nonsense. That we
All
put
three
through.
of you.
Yeah.
All nonsense.
Okay, so we're 45 minutes in.
Hey, Gary, you
yeah.
also.
Let's delay it some more.
You had a trip
Who
too.
needs to hear about the week's news in
Speaking of
technology?
trips.
Speaking of trips.
Yeah.
What?
You went to New York.
I did. I went to New York City.
Yeah.
And it was...
You were supposed to take me.
I was.
Yes.
There was a standing
I had
offer.
a T-shirt made and everything.
Didn't know you didn't.
No, I didn't. I thought
No,
about
you
it
didn't.
though.
No, it was good. I went to New York City for the premiere of the movie I worked on, After Earth, and it was a lot of fun. I got to take my whole family. I married into a very fun family.
Yeah.
So all my in-laws were there, and Leah and the baby.
You had babysitting.
Yeah, and we had babysitting. So it was actually the high point of the whole thing was just me and my wife being out together alone without the baby, literally for the first time since she was born.
Yeah, I
that
can't
alone
imagine.
was just a huge
in
thrill.
New York.
Yeah, in New
One
York
of the
City,
best cities in the world.
pretty much the center of the universe.
We're 6 months behind you, and I can't even imagine
Oh,
what
you'll
that's
get there.
like.
It was so worth it.
What was that red carpet experience like?
It was actually a green carpet.
Really?
Yeah, I still haven't had an actual red carpet. The Eli one was black. This one was green. I don't know what it's going to take to get an actual red carpet. I need to make a movie with like the theme, like it's just red everything.
Yeah.
So they have to do it.
Make a Red Dawn. Oh wait, no, they're
No, they
already
did
on
that already.
Make a movie in Asia.
There's already a movie called Red.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, but it was a lot of fun.
Hold on. So I saw you went to the anti-norm deli when you were there. You went to Carnegie's.
We went. So for
you
me, the highlight of any trip,
Yeah.
particularly when I go to New York City. My two favorite cities in the world, other than my hometown of London and San Francisco, are New York City and Las Vegas.
So you have 4 favorite cities in the world.
Yeah, but I like them all for different reasons. But the reason why I think actually New York City might now be emerging as my all-time favorite city because it's just amazing.
I love a week in New York.
Oh my
But
goodness.
beyond that, like
I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't live
when
there.
I'm there, I just feel like high on life when I'm there. There's so much to see and do.
It's dense.
It's amazing. All human life is there.
And the food.
And so the reason why I love Vegas and New York City so much is the food is just incredible.
Yeah.
And we stayed right in the center of Midtown Manhattan. Literally right around the corner from Carnegie Deli.
Ooh.
And I wasn't really thinking about going there, but we had the whole family here. Where should we go for lunch? And somebody said, well, Carnegie Deli's right around the corner. That's
Yeah.
famous, right? So we all went, and it was fantastic.
So, like, you go in there. This was my first
I want
experience
to know what Norm's problem with it is.
with a
but-
real New York deli. He wouldn't go when we were there in when we were in
went
New York
to
last fall.
Katz's Deli.
Oh, and I've heard great things about Katz's as well, but Katz's was like a subway ride, and we had the baby, and like you have to.
They're both.
You're a little more, you can't go too
yeah.
far.
You got the pastrami. I assume.
No, I got the.
you get the corned beef at Carnegie's
I got the.
with the chopped liver on top, right?
What I got was it was half roast beef and half chopped liver.
Half roast beef. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Norm
And you
is
know what the
really
deal is with
disappointed.
these sandwiches at these New
Yeah.
York type delis is, I mean, it's ridiculous when you get it. I mean, it's literally this.
It's 2
tall.
pounds of meat.
And you can't pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. You have
No.
to kind of like gnaw away at it until it becomes a manageable
Well,
sandwich.
the thing they do
But
is
that's
they
part of the
charge
fun.
you extra bread, charge you money
Right.
for extra bread, so
Right.
you can split it with like 2 or 3 people.
But I loved it. I mean, the ridiculousness of the size of the sandwiches and all the food.
Did they
bring
give you
is
the-
all, to me is part of the appeal.
The extra meat. So when they're slicing the meat, they'll like put some extra on top.
I didn't ask for extra meat.
Oh no,
no,
she said
it's
at
not.
Katz's.
It's a completely different scene than Katz's. So this you go in and you order. This you go and you order, and they I can't remember they give you the sandwich or you go sit down at like family style benches, and then they bring the food to you.
Yeah, yeah.
But they have pickles on the table usually, and sometimes sours.
I went with all these highfalutin
tourist
aspirations
place,
of the kind of food I was going to eat. The hotel we stayed at had a Gordon Ramsay restaurant in it, and I thought, well, let's go to that. And then I thought, I just want to eat like New York,
Yeah, street food.
street
man.
food. So I got my slice. from this place called Ray's nearby that was really good.
Original Ray's, old style Ray's.
It was some kind of Ray's.
Son of
And I know there's
Ray's.
like 50 different types of Ray's.
Yeah, no,
in
Ray's
New York.
Pizza is the
Went down to Times Square.
Okay.
And I got a hot dog with red onions, which is my favorite kind.
Oh, that's good.
Did you get the halal cart?
No. Oh, no, I did stop at a halal cart, and I'm telling you what, the next day I was shitting through the eye of a needle. So thank you very much for that.
Hold on.
Wait, did you get the right halal cart or the wrong halal cart?
Oh no! Stop! We're not. Just
well, what's
move
the matter?
on. We can't. We have.
He brought it up. He opened the door.
We're on the
Do
plane.
not get the extra chili sauce.
Oh,
That-
This was the place where we got.
Oh my God!
I trekked for 45 minutes.
I don't know what kind of halal. I mean, these days there are as many
The
halal
halal
carts in New
guys.
York. Yeah, it's we do things different.
Yeah, the halal
That's what I got.
with the yellow sign.
Yes, that's what I got.
That's the best thing in New York.
Oh,
Yeah,
not
dude.
the next day it wasn't.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you the meal that Norm. So Norm
It was
said
great at the time, but the next day, oh boy.
the night before we left at like 8:00, Norm was like,
After I had
"Fuck
dinner.
it, I want the halal cart." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm in on the." If you go to the halal, I was doing podcasts or something, so I was stuck editing. And I was like, if you go to halal cart, I'll totally eat halal cart. And so Norm trekked 40 blocks and brought halal cart back. And it was the best meal we had.
So I had a good
week.
halal experience at the time.
Taco
That
Bell
was
made
good.
by God.
It was good.
Yeah, I'd say that.
So the Carnegie Deli was great.
Carnegie's
we also ate at a
fantastic.
restaurant a couple of blocks away on 43rd Street called the Brooklyn Diner, which is like high-end comfort food. Really good.
Meatloaf and
I had a-
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Fried chicken.
I just had like fish and chips, and it was really good.
Beautiful.
Spaghetti and meatballs, meatloaf. The fried chicken with red velvet waffles was amazing.
Oh my God.
And then for dessert, I had this thing called a blackout cake, which was like 6 kinds of like chocolate cake all jammed into one
I like
cake. It was
cake.
like if you had a large hadron collider of cakes, this is the cake that would come out of it. It was pretty amazing. And there's also if you're in this area, so we were like around East 54th Street. No, sorry, West 54th Street.
Yeah.
Where the Ziegfeld Theater is. That's where they had the premiere. And right around the corner from there, there's a little bakery called Fluffy's. And you know, New York bakeries always have those like huge like black and white cookies and massive slices of cheesecake. And there's one on every corner.
Yeah.
But this one in particular was really good. I had a chocolate covered cannoli that was just insane.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you go to the Apple store in the Hall? Had you been there before?
No, I went to the one at Grand Central Station last time I was there, and
Yeah.
I still haven't been to the Cube.
Ah. Damn it, Gary.
There's nothing to see there. I mean, it's not like they have any new products
No,
out
it's
right
just-
now or anything.
It's just a whole.
As I would go there and go, yep, that's a big glass
Yeah.
cube.
I bought a lightning cable.
Yeah.
Should we talk about tech news?
Oh, you had
probably-
a perfect opportunity for a segue there.
I think Will's trying to not do the segues.
Hey Norm,
You know-
WWDC is next
Yeah,
week.
Speaking of Apple,
I was going to-
There weren't
hold
any
on.
new products last week.
that was very low hanging fruit.
There
didn't
weren't any new
wanna-
products last week, but next week, if you were there, then you might have had new products because
That's because
Hey guys, WWDC is next week.
you know the one thing that I've heard that our listeners love the most is when we talk about Apple.
Yeah, especially when there's much bigger news.
We put Apple
Hey,
at the top.
Computex happened this week. Haswell news is out. We didn't talk about GeForce 770, but WWDC rumors. The icon for the official WWDC app is super duper flat, guys.
Right, because the rumor all along is now that Johnny Ive is in charge of the software design. The
well,
software
that's not a rumor.
aesthetic.
He is.
Yeah.
He's
He
in charge
hates
of- he-
skeuomorphism.
this is the guy that used to be, or still is, has been in charge for a long time for Apple's hardware design.
Yeah,
and
he's
is now
responsible for that.
Now
And
that the
this.
skeuomorphic guy is gone,
that.
the rumors have been that they're going to flatten out the layout and make it
Yeah.
less.
Right. Scott
Skeuomorphic.
Forstall, who is the guy behind iOS, he and Steve Jobs were reportedly the big proponents of skeuomorphic design. So with Scott Forstall out,
Right.
and for who knows what reasons, probably a power struggle after.
Doesn't even matter. We've talked about this.
Doesn't
in
matter.
The weird
Let's
thing
just
is, so
move on.
the first leaked screenshot of iOS 7 apparently is out today. We looked at it earlier,
And
I heard a
iOS
couple of
7
people saying, "Oh my God, they're ripping off Windows Phone 8." But in fact, it just looks like iOS 6 only a bit more flat.
Yeah, so Windows Phone 8 is very different because Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8, the modern Metro style, it's not just flat; it is very 2D design.
Right.
So when you're moving,
It's anti-skeuomorphic.
when you're moving, I mean, you have squares, and within the squares, you have these iconography that's very reminiscent of street signs and the old
Yeah.
way of you don't need words to describe what the
Right.
item
Yeah.
is. But when you pick up a tile and move it, there's no sense of much depth in there.
Right.
The text, the
No,
icon,
it is a flatland.
It all exists on the same plane. And with iOS, at least every iOS version iOS 6 and before, there was some sense of layers of depth. So you had drop shadows behind the text. You had this layer of sheen. Above
that
the
fake
icons.
reflection that Apple likes so much.
There's a kind of it's like a 2/3 reflection.
So this is
across
all
the
probably
top
going to
of the
go
app.
away. But people, based on this screenshot, and obviously I'm sure there's a lot of specific details about the actual functionality of how it all works, but anyone that was expecting like a radical aesthetic revamp of the OS, it seems like that's not going to happen.
I think the place you're going to see that isn't necessarily in the icons. I think if there's anything that Apple does well, their icons are well designed. It's stuff like
Well, a
the
lot of
flannel
people-
background on Notification
I think
Center.
a lot of people would disagree with it. Every time they release a new icon, I see there's whole threads like on message boards hating on them.
It's not the icons aren't the problem. It's the other stuff. It's the flannel background in Notification Center. It's the fake leather stitching that makes it look like a file of fax on
Don't forget the
calendars.
casino velvet. That's,
Casino velvet
So
on Game
we
Center.
can expect all that stuff. But that's just skinning. I think a lot of stuff that will change for the better are things that really
the actual functionality. Is
actual functionality, like pop-ups, like the pop-up notifications,
Right.
and for your alarms. That stuff was all designed with small 3.5 inch
Because-
screens in mind.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense for a big 9.7 inch
Each
screen.
iOS
they've already updated that.
each
The banner
iOS upgrade-
rollover is different.
I think each iOS upgrade has added a lot of new features that we've liked. But I think what's happened is that Windows, even though it may not be getting a lot of traction in the market, Windows Phone 8 and obviously Android, which does have huge traction in the market,
Yeah.
seems like it's been evolving more than iOS, and iOS is starting to feel a bit long in the tooth.
Well, so the things that iOS is missing from a functionality standpoint are things like widgets, like the ability to put information on the home screen that's not an icon.
Right. Live information on
Right.
your screen.
Things, and one of the things I think they're absolutely going to add is APIs that allow inter-app communication. They've already done this by supporting Audio Booth in GarageBand. Audio Booth is a third-party app that basically allows you to run multiple synths and mixer apps and stuff like that together to do live music composition on an iPad. And it's something that was desperately needed in order for GarageBand to actually work as it was intended. And they support it now in GarageBand. It's the first time I think Apple's ever supported a third-party API, which, just to be clear, third-party APIs were illegal for a long time on iOS, prohibited. So I think we'll see a lot more of that kind of stuff
What else
from
are we gonna
iOS
see?
7. And I think all the textures are
iOS
gone.
7 is probably going to be like the flagship presentation.
Yeah,
right?
they've reportedly pulled developers off of OS 10.
I would like to see some
10.9.
fundamental paradigm changes in just
10.10.
the home screen, because big difference between iOS and for the nearest competitor Android is that Android splits their home screen with the menu of apps. And Android makes a big deal about the series of home screens, whether it's 5 or 7 screens.
So it's, instead of the home screen being a list of all the apps on the device,
it is a shared
the-
place where you have your widgets and
Right.
and where your most used apps are.
Right.
And I don't know if Apple will split that. I feel like they won't, but I feel like they need to change the home screen in some way so it's not just your X number of pages of apps listed.
What else is likely to be shown there? Because it feels like, you know me, I like Apple, but even I'm like, come on, Apple, show us something new. Like,
Right, I
we
mean-
get it. You have iPads, you have phones, but like it's been a while since they've really shown us something that made us go, wow. And
Well-
this is why I think that the stock is going down.
I don't think they
People
can do,
are like kind of Apple's starting to feel a bit old.
They
I
can't
feel like they
is-
need to show something really exciting.
and the something they show can't just be aesthetics either. The
Right.
last big feature, the last 2 big features they rolled out with iOS were Maps and Siri, and
Yeah, both of those were very problematic.
Well,
problematic-
notifications came with Siri and
Sure,
all that, but yeah.
But both of those were very data center heavy, and that's something that Apple doesn't do as well as Google.
You know what I would?
Service heavy,
I just
I
want
would
one
say.
simple feature, and I'm hoping they're going to add it this time because it seems really common sense. Is on like your photo streams, shared photo streams. I want to be able to set it up so that more than one person can add photos.
Yeah,
to my photo
it's
stream.
insane that you can't do
Yeah,
that.
it's ridiculous. Like, if I want to set up a family photo stream, like with me and my wife,
Yeah.
and say her brothers and sisters, we should all be able to contribute photos to it, not
What's-
just have one curator.
What's
It's
the
done.
most exciting feature that you've used on your mobile device in the past 6 months?
I like photos. The shared photo streams are my favorite thing. I love those.
I would say it's
the
Google,
VIP mail list.
Google
is
search.
The Google Now stuff is awesome. It's a little limited because of the iOS limitations. I have to say the VIP mail list stuff is made email manageable for me.
What else typically gets shown at WWDC? Do they do hardware? Do they do
Sometimes
Mac?
there'll be Mac refreshes.
Right.
So WWDC was where first couple generations of iPhones were announced.
But that was just
before they
timing.
moved for September. But
And that was also because they needed developers on board in order for
Air,
iOS
like
to be a
MacBooks
success.
are Airs and Pros are long overdue for an update.
Well,
at
it
this
has
point.
Well's out.
the time for new Mac hardware is WWDC because that's also goes in line with Intel's.
What about Retina Mini and
chips.
things like that?
This-
That's another rumor.
You mean
iMac?
Retina
Retina
iMac?
iPad Mini.
Oh no, that's.
I don't think that'll happen.
I think mobile comes in September.
Oh, right, okay.
I
the
think-
other thing I've been hearing about is apparently Apple's been trying to rush through these music licensing deals so they can launch their radio service.
The iRadio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what the
I could see that
Which
launching.
is hard to get too excited. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be, but like, can we really get excited about another audio, Spotify, Pandora type service?
and
I
also
mean, there's a
Google
bunch of
All
them already.
Access.
right.
Like
Yeah.
Google had one I/O.
I'm really pretty happy with my current music streaming situation. The places where RDO or Spotify fall down for me are in control stuff. So if they add Siri control for RDO and third party apps, if I can control third party apps with Siri, then I'm okay. Like I don't need that's the advantage that Apple has is they can tie into the stuff that you don't.
I
Have.
kind of feel like, unless they have something really astonishing, like some TV thing or something really new, I kind of feel like it feels like one of these ones where people are going to be underwhelmed.
So we're not going to see TVs. We'll almost certainly see new laptops, maybe new iMacs and Mac Minis.
They just did IMAX.
No, that was last year.
I know, but like, no one's going to be excited about refreshing
There's
the
new
existing hardware.
There's new Intel CPUs available.
I know, but that's
right.
none of that's going to move the stock. None of that's going to trigger stories.
I don't think
the
they
next
care
day.
about-
Apple's got it back
I don't
because they've
think they
got
care
faster
about that.
processors.
I think
don't
they
think-
care about having the best option for people to buy when they're choosing between, a all-in-one Dell and all-in-one
I
iMac.
suppose.
The thing that really needs updating is the Mac Pros, and I don't think we're going to see a Mac Pro update until later this year.
No, people
if,
are really
if at all.
Mac Pro users really feel. It really seems like they've been left out in the
bummed.
cold for a while.
I mean, like there's
now.
there's very limited Thunderbolt. As I understand it, there's very limited Thunderbolt options.
I feel like
with
the Mac Pro is becoming like the iPod Classic. Like it's still there, but they're just happy to let it kind of wither.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's tough to get more excited about a lot of this hardware stuff because display, maybe you can see a lot of mobile display and battery life will get better with the mobile
There's
stuff.
not much I'm excited about. Like I am excited about both the new consoles. It'd be nice to have new consoles.
Yes.
But aside from that, like I couldn't give a shit about 4K TV.
I care about
Like
4K
there's a lot of
TV.
stuff I'm not
I care.
excited about.
I want to see 4K penetration.
I
I
was-
want to see affordable 4K TV.
You want to see 4K penetration?
Yes, market penetration.
Because I'm sure
I don't-
that
I don't- the last thing I wanna
there will be
see
segments of the market that'll be more than willing to cater to your
4K.
needs.
it could drive the entire market.
I don't think you want to see 4K penetration. But
Saucy double entendres. If we want to get out of here in less
Okay,
than 3
let's
hours,
move on.
we've got to haul ass
let's move on
from this point.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit in front of this podcast.
E3 is
yeah.
next week.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so we'll see more of what the consoles have to offer.
Yeah, I'm confirmed at both of the press conferences, so I hope that hopefully they're going to have hands on at those.
Oh, so you're going to go to that? All right.
Yes, I'm going. I'm
I'm in
on
LA.
Sunday night.
I'm in LA. It's really frustrating. I'm in LA during that week,
And you're
but
not
not
going?
do it. But just on other business. I'm
Oh.
not doing any E3 stuff at all.
I'm around Sunday, Monday night. Basically, I'm flying back Tuesday.
Yeah, I won't. I'll be there, but I won't see you.
We're shooting stuff on Tuesday at E3.
Yep.
Hopefully, Microsoft, will be able to, they'll show the game stuff that people are waiting to see.
I mean, I think that the thing that I'm more interested in on both sides from E3 is the clarification about the DRM stuff and the
Used games and things like that.
Like I could give a shit about used games, but I do care about game rentals and the ability to hand a disc to someone and say,
Yeah.
hey, you should try this
The
game.
people at GameFly must be going,
They're
what the
fucked.
fuck?
They are
right? 'Cause
completely-
Microsoft can make one decision and basically just make them
it's all
irrelevant.
over. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean they offered a service that I subscribed to at the beginning, and then their customer service was so shitty that I stopped using it.
Right.
I think there has to be a balance, and I'm okay with the balance being, hey, you can't share this game with someone, but then it has to be like there can't be bullshit limitations tied to it. Like the current limitation with Sony downloaded games where you can only put it on 2 consoles and then it stops working, or the Microsoft stuff where like transferring ownership from one machine to another is a big
people are
pain in the
people are
ass.
going to complain, and they may very well have a right to, but this is going to happen whether they like.
This is
whether
the way
they
the
want
wind
it to or
blows.
not. This is just what's going to happen.
Right.
And short of like Turkish style riots in the streets, nothing is going to stop this from happening.
I don't think that comparing the game console situation with the Turkish riots in the streets is entirely appropriate.
Well, I'm
just putting that out there.
But that's exactly my point. Is that you're not going to. It's not important enough to have that kind of response.
People aren't going to.
So
riot.
you're not going to have that kind of response, and nothing's going to stop it.
The thing that I would love to see that would make me feel a lot better about this is if I can say, hey, I have a token for this game. I'm handing that to Norm because he wants to try the game out. And while he has it, I'm not able to play that game anymore.
And it's better if it's a Skylander physical token.
Yeah, if it's a dude, that's even better. That is exactly
and of course,
right.
the problem with it is even if the system actually is kind of cool and fair, there's all kinds of ways that it can break, I would presume, or it can go wrong. It's like you don't get your token back, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. I'm very skeptical about
The
that.
other thing it works on Kindle kind of, except for it's publisher opt-in. So the publishers for Kindle books have to say, yes, I'm okay with this book being a lending capable book.
Yeah.
And fucking nobody does it. So it's a feature you never use.
Yeah.
I'm also a little creeped out by having a always on Connect in my living room.
I don't care about that.
I do. I'm just going to put a hat over it. Make a little
Over
Connect.
what?
Over the sensor.
Oh.
Give it a little
mustache, a
like a
fedora
Timberlake
on.
hat.
I thought you
with
were
a
referring to something
brim.
else.
It'll have a little peacock feather in it. I'm not going to put a Connect hat. It's not like a Jimmy hat for the
Oh my
Connect.
God. No, I don't think you understood what Gary was saying.
I don't understand what you're talking about at all.
No, I don't
I'm
think. I
confused
think
and
enough
scared.
people got it right.
Yeah.
I don't need to spell it out.
You can explain it to me after the show.
Okay.
Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys so much. Haswell Details. It's out. The desktop processors are out now, or it's very soon.
It's very soon. All time aligned with Computex in Taiwan. Big computer convention. Their version of CES, so more computer centric.
It's motherboards and cases and stuff.
And laptops, lots of mobile stuff too.
Yeah.
So we had Lloyd did some testing with Haswell, basically from desktop perspective. If you're on Ivy Bridge,
Not really worth it.
Not really worth it. The power savings, you're probably going to be on a high-end PC. Your GPU is going to take more power than your power savings anyway. If you're on Sandy Bridge, you maybe, but then keep in mind you have to get a new motherboard.
Yeah.
And then
Same memory, but new motherboard, right?
If you're on anything before Sandy Bridge and the Halem Linfield days, then it's worth the upgrade.
So I'm in a I'm in a weird spot because I have a hexa-core Gulf Town, yeah, Gulf Field, Gulf Streams, Gulf something. And I actually do have workflows that use 6
will probably
cores.
still benefit from it.
So yeah, so it's like it's a
You're
weird.
in the every 3 generation jump.
Yeah, I mean that's what it seems like to me. So, but it's good. Power savings are the big deal. It seems like on desktop.
Power savings.
What else?
Yep. On the mobile side, more power savings there, which is great because then we get a sense of, the next generation of Ultrabooks and even the MacBooks will last, 10, 15% longer.
And the graphics for integrated machines, which are mostly Ultrabooks, that we care about at least, are mostly Ultrabooks, are significantly better, once again, than Ivy Bridge, which is significantly better than Sandy Bridge. I mean, I still don't think people who play games for reals are going to be interested in it, but if you want to pick up and play...
I'm going to get the technical stuff. We'll probably skip over. It's like, the idle states are 15 watts as opposed to 17 watts. And
we'll get Lloyd on.
How soon will
to
these
talk about
actually
it
be
again.
like in machines that are shipping?
Very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
The laptops are probably in production right now.
Okay. All right. So it's just a reality. If you're buying a new machine, it's probably just it's the reality.
And
now,
the
anyway.
time was
the
actually
stuff-
good, even for the gaming laptops, because you had the NVIDIA Mobile 700 series stuff announced at the same time as the Haswell stuff. So you have companies like Razer, and they have their
Blade.
their Blade gaming laptops and design laptops. They have a 14 and 17 inch one that has the newest NVIDIA chip and newest Intel chips. And so if you need a mobile gaming system, then that might be for you.
Okay.
Next story. This is a big one for anybody who likes podcasts, which I assume if you're still liking, you must really love listening. You must really love podcasts.
Oh, it's just a masochist.
Yeah, or you hate yourself and or us. There is a patent troll that owns a patent that probably has prior art against it that's being used to threaten podcasters.
I heard about this.
Yeah, the company's called Personal Audio LLC. They sued 3 podcasters and sent demand letters to a number of others, and they've started filing lawsuits against CBS and NBC. Probably small guys like us are safe. However, if you would like to help save podcasting, the EFS has a page at. Well, I don't have the short link.
They already raised a lot of money very quickly, didn't they?
They've raised a boatload of money. I mean, podcasting is like we've been podcasting for a long time. There was a dark period there because everybody's like, well, you're never going to make money on podcasts. It's a complete waste of time.
These guys have got to know that it's going to go nowhere, right? I mean, are they just in it to try and get some money so they'll go away?
Well, no, I'm sure they think that their bogus patent probably will hold up in court enough to get money from whoever.
That's what I'm saying.
Their goal is to make it cheaper and easier to just hand over some cash than fight it in court. And the point the EFS is making is that we have to fight it in court, or else we're going to be paying extortion fees.
Same deal with that lawyer, the ex-Apple lawyer, who started the company to sue Apple on the touchscreen patents.
Yes. I mean, the patent, Obama had a statement today. I haven't read the full thing yet, but there was a statement about patent trolling being a threat to American innovation. Yeah.
Good for him. I'm glad to see that getting out there.
We'll see. So anyway, it is, if you want to know about it, just search for EFF podcast, and it's like the second link that pops up.
Okay.
And they'll tell you how to donate or how to send letters to your Congress critters or whatever.
F that guy.
Yeah, those
EFF
fight patent trolls. Fight patent trolls. GeForce 770 details. We talked about this a little bit last week. We didn't talk about this last week. 2 weeks ago. We talked about 780 2 weeks ago.
If you're building a new PC, this is the one to get.
Yeah,
unless you want to spend crazy money on a Titan.
Well, there's a Titan, GTX Titan. There's the GTX 780, and then there's the GTX 770. The pricing goes basically $900, $1,000, $650, and $400. Spend $400. Be very happy with the 770. End of story.
And overhead for all the latest games on that, the 770? Okay.
Yeah, and since we know the details of the console architecture, we talked about this a little bit when Lloyd was on, but since we know what the consoles look like now, there's kind of, like, you're kind of okay buying a new high-end video card. Is the upshot.
How would the 770 compare to what's in the new consoles?
It is way better than what's in the new consoles.
Right.
Yeah. Or at very least equivalent. I'd have to think about shader processors and stuff, but you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Is the upshot. Google added auto categorization to Gmail. If you haven't turned this on and you use Gmail and use the web interface, it is fantastic.
What does it do?
So basically, a few years ago, maybe a few months ago, I can't remember, they turned on it rolled out a lab called Smart Categorization or Smart Tags. And basically what that does is looks at the content of the email and says, okay, this is from forum update software. So this is the kind of email that you get when you've had a reply on a forum. This is a product update. So this is like Amazon sending you a shipping notice or an order confirmation.
Right.
And they kind of they found 5 main categories. And they put all of the stuff that's like personal communication from human beings in the main one, and then all of the other stuff gets shunted off to the side in a place that lets you deal with it kind of all at once, maybe once or twice a week, so you don't get buried in that stuff.
And is it pretty accurate with how it sorts things?
The place, it fails in the right way. So it tends to, if it doesn't know what to do with something, it puts it in the primary category, which is where the human communication is.
Right.
Which means your spam still shows up there. It doesn't necessarily help you manage spam, but it does help you manage what I think people call ham, the kind of false positives that also clutter up your inbox and are actually really hard to deal with. So things like mailing lists and that kind of stuff.
Right, okay.
So that I turned it on both of my accounts. If you want to find out how to do it, you can pull down your little settings gear on your Gmail interface, and there should be if you have it already, they're rolling it out in waves. There'll be a thing that says configure inbox in there.
All right.
There's new versions of the Android and iOS Gmail apps that support it as well. And the best thing about the new Gmail app, on iOS at least, is that you can set it to only notify you on primary emails. So that means I'm
not getting notification every time Amazon says, "Oh, you might be interested in this
or
product."
You just bought some shit from iTunes or whatever.
Right.
It's fantastic.
That's really cool. I like that.
It is a huge
Yeah,
update.
I noticed the Gmail app updated just the other day. It must be what it was.
Yeah, there's a couple other things in there as well, but that's the big one. Moving down the list, Omni VR launched their Kickstarter today or 2 days ago.
I got funded super fast.
Super fast. So this is what is your theory?
So this is.
Should we explain what it is?
We should explain
first?
what it is. Yeah.
So the Omni is the motion tracker system.
It's not even a motion tracker. It's like a treadmill controller.
It's not a treadmill.
Well,
no.
Okay, but it is.
It's a platform that you stand on, a physical platform that you stand on, so that it'll mimics or senses your physical movement, your leg running.
You walk,
and translates that into motion in
inputs.
games.
Yeah. So it pairs with the Oculus.
Yeah.
Oh,
One
okay.
way to work with it is to wear an Oculus Rift, so you have mouse movement with the Oculus,
Yep.
looking movement with Oculus, and then walking movement.
So you get some kind of like
WSD
holodeck
with-
type immersion
Kind of.
if you pair these up.
It's like those old
That's the
school
promise.
virtual reality systems they had at malls and laser tag.
So the idea is you feel like you're walking around, but you're actually staying in one spot.
Right. So you're staying in one spot, but it's not a treadmill. So the platform that you stand on is a little bit recessed, very, very slightly recessed.
Okay.
And you wear special shoes, which are sneakers. And on the bottom of the shoes, they have a little nub, which is a sensor. And the nub fits into a groove on the platform. So you kind of like, as you walk forward, it knows that you're walking on like a rail. And then that will translate into forward movement. And then you can
So
also
how do you
sidestep.
turn?
You can't turn. You turn with the head. Or with the gun.
This is going to be really.
I'm having a hard
gonna be
time. I'm sure there's a
it's gonna
video
be
or something
really
that
hard
makes
to
it
use.
clear, but I'm having a hard time just hearing
And
about
it
it.
kind of looks goofy. Even their Kickstarter, well-produced Kickstarter video looks a little goofy.
So I watched you probably saw this on a demo video of like a prototype maybe 3 months ago, 3 months ago.
You saw it on YouTube in some guy's living room before
Yeah.
they launched the Kickstarter, and everyone's like, "This is virtual reality. This is what I want." And it recognizes jumps, recognizes lean forwards. The
I
demo
cannot
they showed-
imagine jumping wearing an Oculus Rift. Just the mechanics of doing that and not eating shit when you land is I don't think possible.
Well, surprising though is that this whole system, $350 for the early backers,
Yeah,
which is a little low.
seems too good to be true.
All right.
So that's either an indication that it's not a very great tracking system, or that they figured out a way to make it low cost. And their non-treadmill, non-moving part system.
I'm very into
could work.
Oculus Rift, as you know. This other thing, I would need to see
Yeah.
it, but I'm a little bit more.
I'm skeptical
quite
of
sure.
this,
But
I
their
mean,
goal
we
was
bought one.
150,000,
Yeah, which was low.
which was for $400 units, because it was 350 early bird. I think they had 150 of those, and $400 mainstream. I can't do the math right now. It's like
375.
But they hit their
sales.
target fast, right?
they hit it in.
They had to sell 375 units.
They sold 375 units in a matter of
Is that right?
hours. No,
Yeah.
more than that.
Times $400.
Live math.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Okay, so that's not even that many units.
Yeah, no,
All right,
that's the point. Is the point of those early birds is just to get you over the goal, so it applies pressure to people, so that they feel like they have to order very, very fast, so that you get over the goal, and then you have 45 days to keep collecting money.
But we have
the
one.
psychology of I ordered. I slept through the alarm at 7, so we're in the second wave, but we have one coming.
Okay.
Yeah, I still think it's dumb, but whatever. We'll give it a try.
You think it's dumb, but you set an alarm to get up early enough in the day to order one.
Well, we want
Because
to
we
be
want it
early.
for the site.
Okay.
I'm not going to put it in my living room. Are you fucking kidding? That thing looks ridiculous.
In their Kickstarter video, they say it's easy to collapse and slide underneath like an exercise machine.
Yeah, I have baby toys that say they're easy to collapse, and we all know what a fucking lie that is. Doing these podcasts late in the day, I curse a lot more than I normally
Notice
do.
that. You get cranky later in the day.
Well, it's like Seinfeld. You set the meeting late in the day, and the old guys can't keep up.
I don't remember that one.
Zynga laid off 520 people this week.
Yes,
part of me is-
OMG Pop, right?
All of
and,
OMG
and
Pop.
a bunch of other studios.
Are those the Draw Something guys?
Yep.
They are.
So they paid a huge amount of money for Draw Something.
Yeah,
I believe it was-
$200 million.
And it
$180
really
million.
ended up being a big bust.
Yeah.
It says that they lost based on how long they owned OMG Pop
before
Zynga-
shutting it down.
Before they shut.
Yeah, wasn't it something like $400,000 a day or something?
$500,000 a day.
Yeah, is what it cost them. Zynga is really.
Zynga
that story just gets worse and worse.
Well, they have a whole bunch of cash they're still sitting on farms.
They do, but their trend is just. It just seems like one bad story after another.
I mean, as always, I feel bad for the people who got laid off in this kind of stuff. That sucks.
But it's not like all of these click farming games are failing. There are a bunch of companies who have these social games that are doing just fine as long as their ambitions are.
My Facebook feed is absolutely just polluted with like large-breasted women that want me to play the latest real-time microtransaction.
Hey, can you send me a link to that? That sounds great.
What's amazing is no matter what the theme, it could be like a Victorian detective clues type game. It could be like an Age of Legends, Greek Roman
all sound
mythology
great.
strategy game. No matter what it is, they will find a way to get a large-breasted woman
There's boobs there, is what you're saying.
into the imagery of it to attract you. There.
I would like to subscribe to your newsletter, sir.
Well, just go to Facebook. Apparently, is all you need to do.
I'm okay.
You can't beat big data.
Hold on. You're saying big data says boobs sell?
I think that's what it
We
says.
we should start putting boobs
It's
on
all about
tested
eyeballs.
articles. All those articles that like nobody comments on, we should put boobs
Once
there.
Google Glass will track your eye movements, and
when you're
knows what
staring at
looking
those boobs, Google Glass will know about it.
They
Go,
will.
oh, we got a live one here.
Oh, would you like more Would you like more boobs? Would you like to know more?
Have either of you put on Google Glass yet?
No.
I'm
curious to try it out.
every day I look at my DMs on Twitter to see if they've sent the message that says, "Hey, you can spend $1,500 on something really, really dumb," and still that hasn't gotten the message yet. Let's move on to another topic. We talked about Computex. Asus announced a bunch of stuff. Acer announced a bunch of stuff. They're mostly Ultrabooks and tablets that I don't think people will use.
All right.
I mean, I think they'll use the Ultrabooks, to be clear.
That about sums that up.
And then there's tablets that nobody's going to care about. I'm going to catch a lot of shit for that in the comments, but I apologize. One thing that did happen last week that I do think is super interesting is the Galaxy S4 Mini was announced. So this is it's a small mid-range Android phone, slightly larger than the iPhone 5.
The fact they're calling it a Galaxy S4, but it
Yeah.
is not nearly as competent as an S4.
Isn't it the same hardware basically as in the US version of the S4? Doesn't the S4 not have the quad core in the US?
I don't think it's the same hardware.
I thought one of the appeals of the Android phones was the big screen.
High resolution screen.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if there was a competent Android phone and a thing that I can fit in my it's the same basic size as an iPhone 5, I would be much more interested in Android.
This is that thing.
I know. But they're pitching it as a budget phone for people who don't want to spend $200 on contact.
I still think HTC One is the one to get.
So let's talk about that. HTC One.
That's an amazing
they're
segue.
Both
I didn't even know. Did
I know.
Did I inadvertently tee you up there? That's great. I love it.
both Samsung and HTC, arguably the two best Android phone makers.
Yeah.
And LG made the great Nexus 4, but they're not doing a Nexus phone this year, and there was no new Nexus phone announced at I/O. Both Samsung and HTC have Nexus variants of their phones coming out later this month. So if you don't want to buy a phone with a third-party skin, you want to get Google updates, HTC, you can buy it for full price, unsubsidized $600, $650 price, but you would have to choose between the Galaxy S4 or the HTC One.
HTC One all day.
And I did a poll online on Twitter, and everyone said choose HTC One. That's my gut feeling too, because I'm much more attracted to the HTC One in terms of its design and the hardware.
Are you going to you're going to switch to Android?
But my fear, and I think it's a more interesting story to tell for people because everyone's seen the S4, HTC One. I think people are more interested in what we think about that. But investing in HTC One is not as safe as investing in an S4 because HTC might not exist as long.
Yeah. Well,
because
I mean, HTC is too big a company to not exist. HTC is having some serious company problems right now. Cultural, corporate.
the HTC
corporate
One being
culture
delayed.
Samsung, of
and
course, they're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere.
They're
around.
unstoppable
They're going to be
right
around for a
now.
long time.
Exactly.
I mean, Samsung rode the TV wave, got into phones just as they hit the top of the cliff on big screen TVs.
I just could not get past
And
that S4 announcement
it was
reveal thing.
really
I mean,
bad.
that was I mean, it was like a bad Broadway show.
we have-
I've never seen anything like it.
yeah, I've never seen a bad Broadway show, so I guess, yeah.
It went through so many layers of approval.
I'm sure it did. I'm amazed it got through any of them.
It got through all of that.
It was pretty splashy.
It was exactly what they wanted out of that.
Ryan Davis has a question for you, Norman Chan.
Is he watching this?
No, nobody's watching this.
Oh, this is weird.
He wants. I could give him the link though. We're live streaming.
I was
it
like,
out.
what? What's going on right now?
It's just the three of us in this dark room. He wants to know if you still have pictures of the awful E3 space from last year.
I gave him those photos
When?
last year. Yes, I do.
Okay.
This is not really good radio. is
no.
it?
No, I apologize. He's very insistent on I am. Okay, so I thought you guys could carry the conversation for like 3 seckons, but I guess not.
Not if you're asking me a
Well,
question.
yeah, when we were trying to, yeah. What?
I didn't ask it. Well, okay, fair enough.
So I think we'll probably end up buying the HTC One.
Wait, so are you
The naked one?
you're going to switch to Android?
No, we're going to buy it to test.
Oh,
And
I thought we would have done that by now.
The Nexus
well,
version.
we want
though.
the Nexus version.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
the stock
Yeah,
version.
I mean, basically, we need Android phones that are plain for
And-
video purposes.
That's going to be a $600 phone. It's going to work on GSM.
I think you should use it for a month.
I'll use it for more than a month.
I think you should use it forever. I think it should be your phone until the end.
You know,
of
if
time.
iOS 7 isn't that compelling to me, then maybe. Because
It's a
the
good
best thing
point.
about my iPhone right now is Google.
So the interesting thing about the Android stuff right now is that there's not a ton of options for CDMA, Sprint, and Verizon users that are stock Android, because the Galaxy Nexus was that for a while.
And anyone, and overseas, it's all GSM.
Yeah.
So like Joey has a Verizon phone. He took his phone overseas and no signal whatsoever. I took my
Can he
phone.
put a SIM card in it?
His Galaxy Nexus.
Galaxy Nexus.
Are there any
iPhone-
like manufacturer layers, like TouchWiz or whatever, that are actually a value add, or is it always better to have naked Android?
Some of the stuff that they run in those ads for the Galaxy S4 looks interesting, like the edit a person out of a photo and put a new person in and all that stuff.
Stalin mode.
Yeah, Stalin mode. I can't imagine ever actually using that stuff in the real world.
Yeah.
But GSM, I mean, HTC One will be on Verizon later this year. But going overseas, having a GSM phone, it just switches you to telecom with a K and Sunrise and those whatever carriers are in Europe, and you can just pay
around the
those.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So Joey there's a SIM card slot in the Galaxy Nexus. It's under the battery slot. All he has to do is take it out and put a new SIM card in. It's unlocked.
He didn't put.
Did you did you get your phone unlocked before you went over, or
No.
so you just used your AT&T card?
I didn't use. I use Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
I
didn't have
didn't-
phones.
I didn't pay.
What's it like to not have phone for a week or for 5 days? I haven't had not had a
It's
phone
worse
for
than not
5
have
days.
internet for a 13-hour flight.
Yeah, that 13-hour flight.
That's hard.
It's a long way.
That's 4 really bad movies.
I had
Yeah.
when we flew to New York. It's only like 5-6 hours each way. But I got the go because it does make the flight go much quicker.
Yeah.
The problem is the Wi-Fi is pretty bad.
the one time I
Well,
did.
it doesn't matter. Like we had the go-go on a flight. Maybe it was to Portland or something. Even the fake internet, because they give you like a tease. They give you the
You
splash.
can get on
page.
eBay.
No, it's like you can get.
Yeah,
on,
you
like,
get on
Here are
eBay.
like the 5 top headlines for Entertainment Weekly or something. Like even
Right.
even able to click a link
It's like-
and opening the web page. I got the fix.
If
It's not having
Amazon, if Amazon was smart, they would let you buy shit from Amazon while you're on the airplane.
Oh yeah, well, that's what eBay does.
Because I would spend a fortune on it. Well, but eBay only has shit that I want most
you'd
of
be
the
buying
time.
shit. Like it's the same way that you read Sky Mall,
Yeah.
right? Which is complete shit. But you read it just because it's there and it's
Yeah.
like kind of stupid, but you love it.
And I get to click it
Yeah,
buttons
but
and
like
read descriptions.
if they had a
and-
Sky Mall app
yeah.
that I could actually buy that shit, if that was if the only internet available on the plane was like Amazon and you had to buy shit all the time, I would just keep buying
Every time
shit
you buy something-
just to be on the internet.
Yeah. So the old days. Do you remember?
You better buy something in the next 30 seconds, otherwise your internet will shut down. Oh shit! Mama's Family box set. I'm fucking buying it.
3 years
I
worth
don't
of
care
toilet
what it is.
paper.
I don't even know what I'm buying.
My garage is
Just
stacked with
please don't
Charmin.
take the internet away.
It's why you have your wish list, and you have your wish list right at the ready.
Yeah.
It's on your wish list already.
Boom.
Might as well. You can get that internet.
No. It's like every
God.
3 things you buy for your wish list, you have to buy some random shit that it just shows you. There's a carousel. Oh,
and then
round and round it
ticks
goes.
down, and if you go too far, you have to put your credit card in and get internet.
Sadistic internet,
Oh,
forcing
that's
you to buy
horrible.
shit you don't want. I've nearly bought some. Have you ever actually really come close to
Have
looking
you ever
at
done the phone?
Is it? No.
Have you ever picked? So one time
Airphone?
I wanted to pick up the Airphone because the Airphone's free.
$10 a minute.
No, the Airphone is free if you buy shit from Sky Mall, or it used to be. It may not be anymore. So you could make your order to Sky Mall on the Airphone using all that unused capacity, and then
Have you
Boom.
ever actually seen something in Sky Mall where you've genuinely gone, you know what? That might not be too bad.
says the
I
man
can see
who owns the
myself-
old Boston
I can
Lantern,
see
the
myself
Mr. Lid.
But the Sky Mall stuff is a whole level beyond that.
Somebody gave when one of the things that happens when you have a kid is everybody that you know gives you frozen food, or a lot of people give you frozen food.
Yeah.
And we got frozen food from a friend in a Mr. Lid, and it wasn't you.
Oh, well, see, Mr. Lid's very popular.
Yeah, I know.
The thing I miss about Sky Mall, back in the day, they used to have like Omaha steak and like lobsters. You get like fresh
can.
steaks and lobsters shipped to you. They don't have that in
still
Sky
there.
Mall anymore. No,
They have
it's gone
steaks,
now.
right?
No, it's gone now.
Oh, no
Oh.
steaks.
I missed that.
We one time wanted to do an all Sky Mall edition of the I Seen on TV tested stuff.
You should totally have done that.
It's
It
so
would've been great.
fucking expensive.
Everything is
Yeah, it is
overpriced.
It was like
It is
$100 minimum.
It is expensive.
Gotta
stuff.
cover that
Even
airphone
like
money.
those fucking Harry Potter replica wands aren't cheap.
I mean, what are we going to do with it? It doesn't even make sounds or anything. The Justin Bieber toothbrush was more technologically advanced. Humble Bundle is out. New Humble Bundle is out
Telltale,
is out
right?
this
Yeah.
week. No. This is after the Telltale one.
Oh, there was a Telltale one. I saw that.
This is like the emotion and storytelling one is kind of what I think.
That
it
one
is.
sounds good.
It's Dear Esther.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Was Alone.
Oh, that's great. All those games are great.
Capsized. I hadn't played Capsized
the Moon,
yet, but it's
maybe?
pretty good. No, To the Moon's not in it. I'm forgetting the big ones. Hotline Miami, which I guess isn't really emotion.
Yeah, how is that emotional?
Well,
Or storytelling.
the Thomas Was Alone, I almost cried at the end. I don't know if
Thomas
you played
Alone,
that, but it's fucking
I still
great.
want to play that.
It is
played it.
brilliant.
Yeah, I gotta get
Absolutely.
that.
It's the reason. It's the best thing on the Vita. Kind of a low bar, but it's also
know.
on PC. It's really good.
Okay, yeah, I got to get it.
You can get the humble bundle right now, and you get all 7 games for like $8.
That's
last
a
time I
great
looked,
that's a great
so.
value. I love that.
And they have the soundtracks now too. And the Thomas Was Alone soundtrack is fantastic.
Man,
That's the best thing
Humble,
of
Humble Bundles is like one of the great, just pure forces of good in gaming. I love it.
And except for they're making money hand over fist, I'm sure.
Well, there's nothing,
not
wrong,
that there's
nothing
anything
wrong with
that,
making
but I'm
money
just
while
saying-
doing good things.
Yeah.
And also money going to charity.
Yeah, and to the developers, everybody wins.
Yeah.
Asus announced one of the things they did announce at Computex that I think is super interesting is a 4K monitor. So 4,000 lines of horizontal resolution. I guess those are columns.
31.5 inches.
Yeah.
$3,800.
So it's slightly bigger than my giant Dell monitor.
With a very thin bezel
much is that?
around.
Probably around $1,000.
You would
these
need a
days.
very hefty video card to drive that.
I would think so. Yes.
The memory buffer is big enough. I mean, if you want to run games in native resolution,
And there are some 4K TVs on the market now as well, right?
Yeah, there's a couple, but they're like still 15, 10.
But it's in that weird place.
Actually,
where there's
Sony has reached under
literally-
10 grand. I
there
think,
is
if I
literally
remember.
no content for it, right? There's literally nothing you can do. with it.
Sony has that streaming thing, that box.
Not out yet.
It's not out yet, but it'll be out by the end of the year. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's YouTube videos. There are some 4K
it's for
YouTube
it's
videos.
for
Oh,
photo.
okay.
It's for photo editing.
Yeah.
All
Well, the
right.
monitor is.
Yeah, the monitor.
Because you can look at I mean, it is wonderful editing photos on a 2560 by 1600 display because you get them almost in full resolution.
I mean, can you really see yourself buying a 4K TV and
Not right now.
and rebuying all your favorite movies in 4K? Because you know that's going to happen. They're all going to get re-released.
well, it always happens. I think Blu-ray upscaling has reached a point where it's probably okay for right now for the people who are into buying that. They'll just buy a super heavy duty scaler.
yeah.
I don't like people who are buying 4K TVs right now are buying them to have a 4K TV, not because they
Yeah,
actually
the
wanna
people
watch
with
shit
too
on them.
much money.
Yeah, if I were spending that much money on a TV right now, I'd probably buy the 100-inch Panasonic plasma that requires a 240 volt plug in your room that you put it
Holy
in.
shit.
Kevin Smith has one of those.
Well, I imagine he would.
Yeah, I mean, dude watches
Got
a
a
lot of
projector.
Blu-rays. I'd rather have the screen.
No, I'd have
Screen looks better. Did you see that one when it was Westfield? It was pretty amazing.
I want to check that out.
It's not there anymore.
Oh.
It was a limited time only.
All right.
It's $3,800 Asus's 4K monitor.
Yikes.
So it's pretty cheap.
How much is
as
that?
4K.
How much is that plasma TV you talked about?
$60,000 last time.
What?
It was really expensive.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Kevin Smith's got money.
you have to run a 240 volt line into your
Is that the kind of one that you plug like a washing
electric
machine
dryer.
into, right? Yeah.
Nobody has them. So yeah.
So I mean, do you just like run a cable like out into your laundry room or something?
the electrician has to come, and there's probably you have to run lines from the circuit breaker box into
Holy
wherever you want to put the
shit,
TV.
that is
Get a
serious
Tesla
business.
and use your 240 watt for that.
There you go. Amazon is going to roll the grocery delivery, this is rumored, going to roll grocery delivery that they are beta testing in Seattle out to LA and San Francisco Bay Area by the end of this year.
I like the
So it's
sound of
web
that.
van all over again.
I've done
Also
this.
in Amazon news, I don't know if you saw this was just today. I read this story. This is relevant to your interest as a parent.
Okay.
That Amazon paid a shitload of money to Viacom to take they bought all their children's programming. So Dora the Explorer, SpongeBob,
All the stuff from Nick
Nickelodeon,
and-
all that stuff that was
Yeah.
on Netflix is now going over to Amazon Instant Video.
Well, I
as
have
well,
both of
right?
those.
What?
No, probably
Just Amazon? Or both Amazon and Netflix?
No, it's not going to be on Netflix anymore.
Oh.
They bought the exclusive rights and they paid a ton of money for it. And there was an interesting story today. I can't remember the site, but it was all about like the war for content and how you often don't think about this, but children's content
hugely valuable.
is one of the the parts
Oh,
of
yeah.
because parents like to, you shouldn't do this, but parents like to plonk their kids in front of the TV and just say, sit and watch that and shut up. And this is why Netflix and Amazon, they all have their own specific kids sections.
And then people like get stoned and watch, Rugrats or something.
well,
Adventure Time.
I'm into Caillou.
What's Caillou?
Oh, you don't know about Caillou?
We don't watch much TV in the house anymore.
Well, neither do we, but like every now and again, it's actually, I've ended up watching more of the kids' TV than the baby does because we don't really allow.
Well, you're into the Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I love Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
And on Sprout, which is like the Nick or the PBS station for like really, really young kids.
Yeah.
They have a thing that I like at night called The Good Night Show, where they sit around in this treehouse, and it's like, you know, the whole point of the show is to kind of prepare kids, you know, time to go to bed.
Yeah.
And they show like really easy watching. They show like Thomas the Tank Engine and Kipper and Caillou and the Berenstain Bears.
Ooh.
And just a bunch of shows that are like, you know, wholesome for young kids.
This sounds wonderful.
And, you know, they tell you, well, it's time to go to bed and brush your teeth, and you go to bed.
And brush your teeth?
And they sing you a little lullaby. Caillou is he's a 4-year-old animated French-Canadian kid who has been dubbed into, it was a French-Canadian show and they dubbed it into English. And he's just a little kid, and he explores, and he goes on adventures, and he goes out with his parents and visits places, and he's just.
Does he like go to the doctor, or does he go on real adventures?
No, he goes on like small time adventures, like he goes to the park and he goes to the dentist and things like that, and just little things. It's all very low key.
Is this all part?
But he
of
often
that, like,
imagines that he's like a space astronaut or living in dinosaur times or something. But the weird thing is, what I discovered is that parents fucking hate him.
Really?
They hate him. They think he's this whiny little brat. I think he's a cool little kid.
French-Canadian
But like
bias.
parents cannot stick, because I think kids like him.
Yeah.
And kids watch him on loop. You know, because kids can just watch shit all day long.
Yeah.
One of the things I discovered a few years ago that was really interesting is like when you get like a kid's DVD,
Yeah.
there's a button on the menu to just run it on an endless loop. Because kids will watch that shit. They'll just keep,
They don't know.
They don't care. They just watch it over and over and over and over. But you, as a parent, eventually want to kick the fucking TV screen in because you've seen this thing 50 times.
I mean, I went out and bought a sound machine for the kids' bedroom.
Oh, that's good to have.
That instead of playing the 3 songs, the 16 things that we already have do, it plays like infinite number. It's like infinite music
Yeah.
in there, basically.
Yeah.
And thank God.
People who are listening to the podcast, if they've got kids, they know who Caillou is. You will discover, my friend, Caillou.
Infinite Music.
Yeah.
You know, there's a new music game coming out from our friends at Harmonix.
Oh yeah. That was another-
Fantasia.
Man, you're really on the segue.
I know
game
that one
today.
felt like a bit more. I kind of saw the effort in that one.
I don't.
Didn't feel
I thought
effortless.
like that. The infinite music thing would have been a good segue for the Apple streaming service or some sort of.
So I
streaming
didn't.
service.
So I didn't see much. I didn't watch the trailer or anything yet because I've been busy all day. But it did seem like people are excited about maybe Harmonix have come up with yet another new way to play a music game.
So the thing that they showed, they said was more of like a teaser, get people interested in the concept, not really showing actual gameplay. But there was a
Right.
lot of like people flinging magic at shit. And
Yeah,
like,
it's
that
it
looks
looks
awesome.
opposed
like a lot of
to
fun.
Playing the songs, you're conducting the music.
Yeah.
Right.
Much like Mickey Mouse does in
Right.
Fantasia.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
Another sure to be another huge hit with stoners,
Yeah, yeah, it's a good
right?
market.
You know,
for
like
that kind of
hippos
game.
in.
I think kids
Put a hat on it, Gary. It's going to be something.
That's going to be
God
a meme.
Damn it. I hate being. Anyway, yeah, it looks good. We're going to see it at E3.
Yeah, I'm excited
So,
about it.
there's probably an opportunity for Norm and I to do something stupid.
And I think, you know,
I was stoked.
obviously going to be a lot of other big game
Well,
reveals.
it has like concept modern music, but apparently they also have the classical stuff.
Of course,
from
because
the
it's
original
Fantasia. You got to have
yeah.
you got to have, you know, the
For Sugar
Sorcerer's
Plum
Apprentice and that
Fairies
stuff.
stuff like that. Yeah. I think that's it. Is that all the news?
I think we're doing all right. Yeah. What else you got?
I play some music and talk about what we've been testing.
Okay, let's do it quick.
Speaking of Amazon, I bought a mattress on the internet without ever having laid on it.
That seems like a risky
That's a really
risky
bad
thing to do because like, how do you even send that back if you're not satisfied?
I think you just sell it on Craigslist at a loss. So
Why not go to a... That seems like one of the last remaining things where you do actually want to go... Like, in the local mall where we live...
I know.
There's a video store. And I look at it and I feel... And I honestly, I feel like Marty McFly every time I look in there. I'm like, why is this thing still here?
Hold on, Marty McFly in 1955 or Marty McFly in 2015?
Well, whatever. I've gone back in time is the fucking point.
Okay.
And I don't understand why that video store is there.
Okay.
But, like, there are certain things where... You do. Like, I like buying things on the internet, and I like streaming shit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to go out if I don't have to. But like buying a mattress, that's one of the stores where you still want to go to the store and actually like physically lay on it and check it out before you commit to that purchase.
Okay. So
What? You don't agree?
I thought that.
I guess not.
No, I thought that. And then I went to look at mattresses and I was like, holy shit, when did mattresses start costing $4,000?
Well, if you want a good one, that's what they cost.
Fair enough.
Did
You're
you,
gonna- you
you,
don't
you
remember, you're
actually
gonna-
went to a mattress store?
I went to a bunch of mattress
You're going to
stores.
spend.
Okay, so you did the shopping and then you just bought it online.
No,
You're gonna
'cause
spend
it doesn't
basically
work
a
that way.
third of your life laying on this thing. It's one of those things you
for
should
the next
like.
10 years.
Yeah, and you, for that reason,
Okay.
you should not skimp on it.
So we're in a situation where I can afford to take a chance because hopefully we're going to move in the next year or so and have. Right now we live in a small house and
Yeah.
the bedroom doesn't accommodate a king size bed.
Okay.
I would like to have a king size bed now that we have children, because it turns out we spend a little more time in there than we used to.
Mm-hmm.
We can't put it in the room we have now, but theoretically we can move before too long.
All right. So what you're saying is you went internet shopping because you wanted to buy a cheap mattress or get a bargain.
Well, I didn't want to necessarily buy a cheap mattress because this will end up being like a guest bedroom bed at some point in the future.
Okay.
So, and I am going to sleep on it for the next year. And we were kind of interested in like the whole memory foam Tempur-Pedic thing. So before going out and spending $4,000 or $5,000 on a ridiculous mattress, we wanted to take the Tempur-Pedic thing for a test drive. But I didn't want to spend.
So you did the thing that people now do where they go to Best Buy and sample the products and then go home and order it. Yeah,
no, because eventually, unless this is amazing, we're going to we'll buy the real Tempur-Pedic when the time comes, right?
Okay.
Because they're the people who make the memory foam and they're the bomb at it, apparently.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on what was eventually going to be the guest bedroom.
Right, got it.
And at the same time, Amazon ran a promotion over Memorial Day, which apparently is the big mattress sale weekend.
Yeah, they love the Memorial Day mattress sales.
About this Dream Foam mattress, which is a company that exists only on Amazon. It's a guy who used to own mattress showrooms in Arizona or something. Was like, if we didn't have to have a bunch of showrooms for these, we could sell them real cheap. So he started making his own mattresses, and it's a great American...
there's a reason why mattresses have showrooms.
Well, except with the memory foam mattresses, they're all about the same. The differences are like how much air they vent and how thick the foam is and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So there's not a lot to it once you kind of know what you like. So we bought a mattress on.
So then, do you just when it arrives, is it just like sitting there on your front porch?
It's rolled up. It's on my front porch right now.
Wow.
It's rolled up and all the air is mashed out.
Do you get prime delivery?
Fuck yes.
Wow. Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal.
I paid $3, $4, whatever Prime one day cost to get it shipped here. I ordered it on Monday morning.
Because the shipping on that itself has got to be.
Yeah.
I feel good about the thing. And here's the kicker. So the Tempur-Pedic is like $4,000.
Okay.
$700.
All right. Okay. I'm starting to see I'm starting to see your side of it.
Worst case, it costs $200 to ship it back, or I can just sell it on Craigslist for $500.
Yeah. Either way.
Yeah.
All right.
I bought a new foundation from the people that were at the nice place. Because I needed a different. My old box springs don't work with Tempur-Pedic.
What do you do about your old mattress?
Well, so when they bring the box spring, they're going to take the old mattress and the old box spring away.
I mean, that's obviously the.
You don't want to.
Thing. You got.
You don't want to be the guy putting the old mattress outside. Old mattresses are one of the grossest things.
Oh yeah.
In your house.
But that's why pretty much all mattress services take your old stuff away.
Do you know how much
skin?
No, just sweat weight.
Farts.
Oh yeah.
It's
nothing
all
but farts.
Yeah, the mattress basically like doubles in weight over the course of 10 years.
I think that's a myth.
No, I don't think it is.
I have a 10-year-old mattress.
And for that reason, they can never be resold. There's no market for used mattresses. They just have to be, I think they just go into landfills.
I can find somebody to take this. $50 OBO? No?
No.
They just put a new cover on it and take it down to the fucking mattress warehouse and sell it again.
No.
Anyway, I'll let you know how the internet mattress works next week.
Okay.
I'm really interested to see how this goes because it could be a complete debacle.
All right.
Probably this is going to end with me going to Sleep Train and spending $3,000.
Okay.
Norm, you got to test out Jeremy's Pixel box. Have you seen
we
this?
tested it. Have you seen this?
Oh, I watched the video. I love it. Jeremy's a really, really smart and very cool dude. I love how he comes up with this
Jeremy's
stuff.
a good friend of ours. Independent developer now. But he used to do
when I was on PC Gamer. He used to put together like the cover disc with the demos and stuff.
The very first disc editor of PC Gamer, and the previous editor then. So we worked with him back at PC Gamer, and then did a podcast for us when he moved to Chicago.
Yeah, that's right.
But now he's back in San Francisco for a while. He has kids, and he's kind of I don't think he considers himself a maker, which
he's a Renaissance man.
But he really is he
went out and learned how to edit video and audio and all sorts of other stuff.
He's a self-made, man. He's like a modern-day hunter-gatherer of technology.
He collects skills
stuff and all stuff. And he had a couple of projects that we invited him to bring to the office to show off. And the timing was right because it was at the same time as Maker Faire. But the Pixel Box is a wall-mounted display that is basically a frame for 256 LEDs.
It's basically a picture frame that can display animated sprites.
Yeah, animated sprites, and not just the LEDs they're diffused in a way so the sprites actually look like full color.
Oh yeah, they look great. They look really bright and very vivid, and I saw like the Frogger animation. It looked, and you can program it to be anything you want.
Yep.
It's so it's 16 by 16 pixels. He uses RGB LED strips. the programmable.
You should watch the video.
ones.
The video is the best
Yeah.
way to experience
And
it.
each pixel is 3/4 of an inch. It looks awesome. It's
Yeah.
the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And he did a great job with it. So yeah, you should watch the video. You want to talk about your shoes in Yosemite?
Yeah, about some new shoes. I'm not wearing any shoes now, but they were quick lacing shoes.
Like just like Velcro?
They were
Not like
no,
Marty McFly.
They were basically one motor away from Marty McFly
Oh,
shoes.
self-tying laces.
And-
That's still the dream. Power
Well,
laces.
if you think about, they weren't self-tying in Marty McFly's in the movie. It was just
They
tightening.
tightened, yeah. They
cinched.
Yeah.
You press the button and then they cinched up, and then with power.
Those ones that we saw in Vegas, were they powered or no? They're
The
just
ones
for
they
show,
sold
right?
for auction.
no, they were
not.
bullshit. They didn't do. They lit up, but they didn't do any of the cool
Sculpture.
features. Yeah.
Yeah. But you have hiking shoes and fitness shoes now where the laces are, you just tug the top and it tightens up.
All right.
And it
It's-
feels very comfortable.
hold on, so
and
this
it doesn't
seems-
loosen.
Is there like a cinch thing
There
on
is a
it?
cinch thing on it. Yeah.
So how do you loosen them?
You can just pull the cinch thing up.
Oh, okay.
It goes one direction.
Is this for people who like run triathlons or something, get out of the water and then immediately have to put their shoes on and start running?
Could be for them. It could be for people who run a lot, and then as you run, it loosens up like over time.
When
little
I was a
bit.
kid, I used to like those sneakers that just had like Velcro straps on them. Remember they used to make
The
those
big
for kids.
3 Velcro
Yeah, they
straps?
couldn't be bought.
Yeah.
The kids that either didn't want to or didn't know how to tie their shoelaces.
Yeah.
Do you wear loafers?
I have a couple of like dress, like when I wear a suit, loafers, but like I don't usually wear shoes otherwise.
I have a pair of
I have
loafers.
like pairs of boots. That
I think people
lace
who
up,
did the Velcro straps also like slip-ons and.
like
Well, but like
moccasins.
there's a certain time that you need to wear a loafer, but maybe a wingtip is not appropriate.
Yes.
So
All right.
How do you buy? What's your shoe shopping strategy? Because I
Go
hate
on-
buying shoes. I just
you go
buy
on
sneakers
Amazon?
from
So
Zappos.
you were talking about sports shoes?
Like how do
or
you
like
how do you
regular
go get them,
shoes?
try them on, and get on a treadmill or something at a store, or do you just kind of wing it and order something
You
until
wing
you?
it. You wing it and read reviews, and you read a lot of forums.
But everybody's
It's all
foot's
on
different.
Forums. It's all on forums.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
People say this shoe is tight on the narrow, too narrow.
Uh-huh.
Or I have
But
wide
again, this
feet.
is another thing where surely the only thing to do is go to a shoe store and try them on.
Or
and
do
walk
the
around.
Zappos thing and just order a whole shitload
I know,
and
but
send
then
back
you're,
the ones
but
you
then
don't
you're
want.
sending them back, and
It's free, though.
I'd rather just go
Who
to the.
cares?
I know, but it's actually less effort to go to the store and try on 3 pairs of shoes and pick one.
Pants, go to the store. Shoes, I'm okay getting. And once you like a pair of shoes, you just buy that pair.
For the rest of your
Until
life.
yeah,
Have you
Well,
ever
until they stop making them.
Have you ever calculated how many pairs of shoes? Like, I found a pair of sneakers I really liked once, and I thought, these usually last like 4 years at the outside. So if
4
my
years?
life, what?
That's a long time for sneakers.
Well, I have a.
Oh,
cycle.
I've had pair. You know that pair that you just are like you just can't bring yourself to throw them away. You
Yeah.
had them for such a long time.
Yeah.
They feel like your best
I
friends.
have a pair of blue suede Pumas. I can't find a replacement for.
Yeah, and it's just like and I used to have this pair of like black Adidas high tops years and years ago
Like
that were
indoor soccer high
literally
tops?
the sole was literally falling off them, but I just couldn't
yeah.
bring myself to toss them away. And I've still got shoes like that to this day.
Yeah.
The old favorites that are really on their last legs, but you just I've got a pair of like Adidas campers that I'm a big fan of, and they don't make them in that particular style and color combination anymore, and they're my favorites, and the ones that I'm wearing, I'm actually considering taking them to like a cobbler. Is that still a thing?
So I've done that.
And having them kind of fixed up like
Yeah.
new.
Oh,
when
no,
I took a pair of sneakers to a cobbler, because I took my blue Pumas, the ones that they don't make.
That's a hard
anymore.
thing to find. I mean, there's talk about a dying trade.
What, a cobbler?
Yeah.
There's a great guy down in the financial district. I can give him to
okay.
you. But he laughed at me when I brought sneakers in.
Oh, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I want someone to fix up my sneakers.
Because the problem is the soles are glued to the thing, so there's nothing they can do to fix it. Yeah, glue. It's the enemy
like,
of every.
it has to be like probably stitched like a real
Or
pair of
nailed or
shoes.
whatever,
Right,
yeah.
right.
I tested a Nespresso machine for the first time in Switzerland.
No, you didn't, because we have an espresso machine at the BB
That's not an
office in
espresso
LA.
pod though, or it's a different kind than the ones
This
that I
is the
have used.
Nespresso that they only every hotel, every place of business in Switzerland, Nespresso machines that have these type of pods.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
They
the
look-
one I have at home has a different kind.
So
It has
maybe
the
it's- yeah.
ones they sell in the U.S. aren't the foil pouch; they're
Right.
a disc puck.
right. And
Yeah.
do you have to dispose of your disc pucks after with each?
But
cup
it
you
falls
make?
into a little hopper, and after
Okay.
a while, you just empty it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, in all the hotel rooms, they give you you can open a box and you have a ton of these pucks.
Yeah, and Europe Nespresso
Slide
is,
them in
is
and press
everywhere.
the button, and you get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but
great.
that foil stuff doesn't go away; it ends up
oh
in
no,
the back
you
of the
have
machine.
and then you dispose of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
all at once. Yeah, I don't like the coffee.
You didn't?
No.
It's not good coffee. That's why
I
you didn't
stayed
like
in
it.
you know, like when you stay in a shitty hotel, they sometimes have the little coffee makings.
Yeah,
They're
the
little
Lavazava.
they have the little drip coffee machine and a couple of pouches. I stayed in a really nice hotel recently where it actually had like real French press and real coffee grounds, and you actually could make like an actual kind of like semi artisanal cup of coffee, and I enjoyed that much more.
I when I went to Portland, the last time I went to Portland with Gina, we stayed in a hotel where they had like a little a barista station downstairs where like you'd go down and it was like free coffee. There was a tip jar, but
Yeah,
you could go out and get like they do a pour for you in the lobby, which I thought was really cool.
yeah, that's great.
I tested a bunch of dual extruder printing last week while you guys were gone. So it's one of the things that is part of the MakerBot and has been for a long time, but the software support was kind of janky for it, so it never worked very well. It also required you to really, really have the calibration stuff dialed in, so the platform was super level, which is harder than it sounds. But after a week of trying, I finally got something to print, and I wrote about it on the site. So if you're curious if you have a 3D printer, you're interested in dual, the upshot is probably dual extruder printing isn't worth spending the money on right now. However, having a printer with a heated platform is. So there you go.
All right.
That's what I got on that. Anything else you want to talk about? You took your big camera to Yosemite too when you went, didn't you? You've been to Yosemite since the last time we talked to you.
Yeah, Yosemite's pretty good. You know, if you want to feel like you made a great mattress purchase,
Yeah.
then you can sleep on a tent floor for a couple days.
Yeah.
And
You'll
then
appreciate the mattress.
You would love your mattress.
Did you take an air mattress with you? Or did you sleep naked on the ground?
Naked on the ground. for
I
one
slept
night.
on an air
That's your
mattress one
mistake.
time, and it was the least comfortable night I've ever spent.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Well, since we converted our guest room into the baby's room, when we had guests coming that didn't like have a hotel, didn't want to stay in a hotel, we bought this air mattress thing that like inflates. It comes in what looks like a huge valise.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of shit I'm talking about. Those things are horrible.
Oh, this one's really good. I slept on it. I took a nap on it one day. It was quite
Oh,
comfortable.
I hate them.
Just too movie. It moves too much.
Just not comfortable in any way.
I like an air mattress.
Oh no.
We went to the Select Comfort place to see if that was any good because they always recommend that for people with back problems.
I was walking by the Sleep Number store
Number,
the other
that's
day,
it.
and I noticed now this appeals to me. That not necessarily just the firmness, because I like a firm mattress, but they have ones now that actually have, if you like a cool mattress,
Yep.
it will keep it cool. But if you like a warm mattress, I like a cool.
$5,000.
Yeah, I like a cool. There's nothing better than slipping into a bed and it's nice and cool. Some people like a warm bed, like the idea of like having a heated blanket.
Like a sweaty.
Yeah, horrible. It's the worst.
No, you want yourself.
I like warm. I like to get in and be
No, I like
cozy.
it. No, I like it nice and cool.
I like it
It warms
cool.
up when you're in it, but when you
Yeah,
first get
exactly.
in, you
Yeah,
want it
see,
to be
my
nice
feet.
and cool.
If my feet get cold, they'll stay cold for hours though. Poor circulation. I'm pretty sure that the first mattress and box springs I ever bought was $300.
Well, mattresses back in the day, yeah, were much more simple.
I don't
You
understand.
look at these things now with these huge pillow
layers.
tops.
It's horse shit, though. I mean, it's all just a racket to make you have to spend more money when you need a fucking mattress.
It's like any business.
The low end mattress at a mattress store is like $1,200 now. That is insane. That
Well,
means
I
in
mean-
order to sleep, you have to have $1,200.
I mean, you got to figure, you know, like you said, people really only buy a mattress every 10 years.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
that's
like they
not
get an
my
opportunity
fucking
to sell
problem.
these things.
Why do they? The pillow top deal on mattresses is like the fact that you're supposed to flip these, and one of those is going to be down for X number of number of weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Just means that shit's going to get crunched and wear out. I mean, the one thing I will say about the Sleep Number place is that bed is totally modular. So, like, if the side gets crushed down, they'll just send you a new side and you can take
Right.
the old one out and put a new one in.
That's correct.
So it lasts forever.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what they tell you when you're
I didn't
selling
find we had a
$5,000
Sleep Number
mattress.
bed for a while. I didn't find it to be particularly comfortable, but I know a lot of people love them.
I didn't like
What's your
the
Sleep
laying
Number?
I don't remember. I know I wait. It's whatever the firmest one is because I like a really firm.
100.
I guess so. No, this was a kind of a cheaper one that didn't have the number.
Oh.
It just had like up and down arrows.
Oh.
It was kind of that.
need
If you
the
want the
Sleep
actual
Number.
if you want the little LCD that has the number,
Yeah.
that's more expensive.
$5,000.
Make it the
Yes.
most firm and then press it down 4 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. The mattress thing, the whole mattress thing seems like a racket to me.
It's like anything.
It's not like anything. Buying fruit isn't like a racket.
Well,
you go to
it
the
is.
fruit stand.
it is if you get into GMOs and shit like that.
Fair
That's a pretty dangerous
the whole
racket.
fucking world's messed up. Anything else? Gary, have you been testing anything you want to talk about? Or are you good?
I haven't really been testing anything new because I've kind of just been, been traveling a lot and keeping my head down working. But, I took my Mophie to New York. I'm still loving that. It's as someone who has a lot of battery anxiety, who's constantly checking the battery
Yeah.
indicator on my phone, especially when I'm away on a long trip. If you're going to be out a long day, I'm constantly checking my phone. The battery goes down pretty quickly. it's great to have that security and knowing that I can just flip that switch and get another charge out of it and not have to worry about plugging it in anywhere. I love it.
The times I need that are when I'm traveling.
And most of the times, honestly, I mean, 50% of the times that I've taken it out, I never needed to switch it on. It's just having the peace of mind and knowing that you've got a second charge ready to go.
Well, if you have anxiety, then
I do. I have tremendous anxiety about pretty much everything, and that's one less thing for me to worry about.
I went and saw David Simon and David Chang talk last week.
Oh yeah,
David Simon?
David Simon from
The creator of The Wire.
The Wire
Wow.
and Generation Kill.
Oh, yeah, because they're both on Treme. Where he made Treme and David Chang's on Treme.
David Chang's on Treme. And it was part of City Arts and Lectures. So it's going to be on the radio in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But
he's a very smart guy.
Yeah. Well, both of them were. It was a fantastic conversation. And the thing that they both talked about is crippling insecurity being like the big problem that they have. Is that every time I was like, David Simon has fucking insecurity about stuff he writes. Every time he writes something, he's like, is this any good? I feel okay.
It doesn't
about
matter,
my life.
you know, and I know this only not, and I don't speak from personal experience because I don't consider myself terribly accomplished, but talking to writers who are very accomplished, they will tell you that insecurity never goes away.
Well, the thing Dave Chang said was, and if you didn't know, Dave Chang was one of the chefs that came with us to NASA to do the ISS, the Commander Hatfield meal. He said that it's much harder to be on the top than on the bottom because on the bottom you have room to improve, and on the top all you can do is fail. Which I thought was a pretty grim way to look at it.
I would assume that's correct.
Yeah. I guess that'll do it for us.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a pretty good run. I mean, we're pretty far in, and it's late. Yeah. I'd like to go home and see my child.
I'll go home and eat my dinner and make sure my family is okay.
Yeah, I hope the Bubbers is feeling better.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of a fever, and need to wait until your first time with your baby gets sick, man. Sometimes being a parent, man, it fucking sucks.
I like she's our kid has started doing a thing where she just talks. She stops screaming in the middle of the night, which is good because that's like the worst thing in the world is waking up and not knowing why you're awake, except for that maybe the kid screamed or maybe that was a dream. The only reason you can tell it was one or the other is that both of you are awake instead of just one.
Yeah.
But now she just wakes up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and starts talking to herself, which is alternately really annoying and super cute. So, and she does that for 4 or 5 hours sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, that'll wrap it up. We did plenty of fake outtakes. If you want fake outtakes, just go to the beginning of the show and listen to that again.
It was all kind of at the front-loaded fake outtakes.
It's like the kid DVD. It's put on repeat.
Yeah, just keep looping. We'll be back next week with another episode of This Is Only a Test. See you guys then. Oh, wait. Fuck, I didn't do an outro. This is the outro from KJN. Hi there, I didn't see you. That's it.
Sure, this will fit in cargo pants. You should not be wearing cargo pants.
We use that one so many times.
That's pretty good.